Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Road to Brawl Cup SA. It is match day number 3 once again, and we're going to see Group C. I'm your host, Panicast, joined with Duncan Brawl Stars. And how are you doing today, Duncan? Congratulations for joining. What did you join? Which org did you join today?
I joined Vatic Esports, so I'm really excited about that, Panda. Thank you so much for the congratulations. Definitely excited for this next step in my Brawl Stars career, in my content creation career. So get you shouting that out. Shout out to Vatic for signing me. But we're not here to talk about that as much as I might like to. We're here to talk about the Road to Brawl Cup for South America West.
Yeah.
As Panda said, it is day number 3. And today we are going to be crowning a champion for Group C, which consists of Enosis Esports, Ice Frio Hilo, and Los Flaetes. We tried to play this yesterday. The Brawl Stars servers had other issues for us, but now these players have had another day to figure out the new meta, to figure out the new buffies and balance changes, so we should be on a little bit more even footing going into today's game span.
Oh, 100%. It is also going to be interesting to see how these teams decide to draft, considering that we've had at least one day. In Group C, like we mentioned, we have Enosis Esports, Ice Frio, Hielo, and Los Flaetes. I believe that in Enosis Esports, we have Dacon, Bast, and Exit. Ice Frio Hielo has Bradbury, Soba, and Diego. Los Flaetes have Predicador, Peter, and Starboy. And these are all members coming in from different countries. So we have the representation across the region.
Yep, in those countries that you referenced there, we've got Chile, Peru, and Argentina, so that is making up our South America West region. In case you guys weren't aware why they're getting a separate tournament, is because the South American servers do tend to favor those teams on the east side of the continent, more towards the Brazil region, so giving these teams a separate tournament to compete for a Road to Brawl Cup ticket definitely makes it a little bit more fair as far as ping and latency is concerned. So in case you guys are curious why we got a whole separate tournament, hopefully that answers some of your questions here, but regardless, we're going to be trying to crown the best team from this region, South America West, and we're gonna have one team making it out of Group C to make it into our finals that are going to be on Saturday. So I'm really excited to see which team is going to crown the champion of Group C.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw some insane plays coming in from Group A, B, and in Group A, but the thing is, the meta has changed a lot because we have had a new update. We have 60 buffies, that's 30 new abilities. We have a new brawler, but it is going to be banned out for today. It is serious, so I think a lot of people start working towards unlocking it or maybe buying it or whatnot.
Yeah, so 100%. We're not going to be seeing any serious in our games today, as much as we might like to, but he's going to be permanently banned out for this tournament, guys, so don't worry about that. We do still have all the new 6 buffies in play: Crow, BB, Bull, Nita, Bo, and Leon, all getting some broken new abilities. But guys, just to touch on the format of this tournament real quick, we had 12 teams qualifying from 3 days of qualifiers. They have been split into 4 groups of 3 teams, where 1 team from each group will advance into our double elimination bracket on Saturday. So that's going to be our format. Like we said, we're going to have a lot of learning and growing to do with this brand new meta that's been thrust upon us here with the Brawl Stars update. So I'm really excited to see which brawlers are going to get banned out the most, which brawlers are going to get picked the most, and which kind of these new abilities are going to be at the top of the meta now.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's going to be very interesting to see how these people decide to go and draft it, because things are going to change considerably. Like, we know how strong BB is. At least if you're paying attention to the meta, you know how strong she is. She has not the gadget actually lasts for 10 seconds. She does 2,000 healing per tick in that not the vitamin booster, but whatever the healing gadget is, and as a result, she's so much more impressive. I expect her to be banned out globally by all of the teams, otherwise they're going to face a lot of hurt. And you know, you have to identify a lot of these broken interactions and you know, abilities that we have in Brawl Stars right now, and abuse it, or maybe ban it out if you don't want to see it.
Absolutely, yeah. With only a day and a half to test out the meta, I'm sure that these players aren't going to be quite as comfortable with all of the new abilities as they would like to be before heading into such an important tournament. But regardless, I think you hit the nail on the head with the BB being a big problem there. We've got our first set pulled up, though, and surprisingly enough to me at least, BB is not included in our global bans. We have Ice Frio Hilo banning out Poco and Mina for the duration of this set, for the duration of this match, I mean, and Los Flaetes banning out the Ems and the Mortis. Our map-specific bans are going to be BB, Bo, Pierce, Gray, Shelly, and Frank.
Poco's going to be coming up for Los Flaetes. It is their first pick here.
Wait, that might be a global ban. We might have the same issue we had yesterday,
Oh
Panda.
no! Oh no! Oh no! I think, yeah, I think you're right. I think this set's going to go to Ice Frio Hielo.
Yeah.
Did they not get the script?
I
Did
don't
they
know.
not
This
get
is
the script?
if you guys were here with us for our shortened stream yesterday, we had the same issue for set number 1, awaiting on confirmation, and it appears that we're going to get that confirmation, guys, because of the lack of communication here with the global bans. That is going to be a free set win for Ice Frio Hilo. Obviously, those global bans are communicated, but they are not inside of the game's UI themselves. So that's how that mistake was able to be made by Los Flyetes for the second day in a row. And unfortunately, that's going to be our first set coming to a quick and decisive end. It sucks to see it go out like that, but you got to pay more attention, Panda, especially the second time, man.
Yeah, they blitzed through that set right there. I mean, we talked about this yesterday, and the fact that, the same teams have made the same mistakes is kind of crazy to me. How do you make this mistake over and over? You lost the first. This is just like, I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words.
I'm sure that Ice Frio Hilo's at a loss for words too, trying to figure out how they just got another free set win right there. But regardless, that's going to be the end of our first set, guys. So hopefully, I can only hope and pray that Los Flyetes are able to lock in and remember the 2 global It's only 2 brawlers, guys. We only got to remember 2 brawlers. But yeah, that's going to be a free set win. Panda, do you know what game mode we have coming up for us in set number 2 here?
Yeah, it's going to be Gem Grab. And in Gem Grab, we have Hard Rock Mine, Double Swoosh, and Death Cat Trap. So these are the options that we have. So I'm still perplexed by the decision making that we saw in the previous set. But, let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. We have Gem Grab coming up next. So hopefully this one goes a little bit better for Los Flyetes because they're already down 1 in terms of the score.
Yes, they are. We are going to have the same global bans for the entirety of this match between Los Frios Hilo and Ice Frio Hilo and Los Flyetes. So it's going to be Poco, Mina, Ems, and Mortis still. Hopefully we don't see any of those brawlers getting picked. The bans for Death Cap Trap specifically are going to be BB and Bo, who both got new hypercharges, along with Rico. Los Flyetes choosing to ban out Pierce, Shelly, and Frank, and they're going to take the spike with their first pick. He did get 2 nerfs to both of his gadgets. I still think he's going to be in a pretty good spot in the meta, but definitely those gadgets are going to fall off a little bit. Might not make him as strong of a first pick as he once was, Panda.
Indeed. We have a Ruffs coming out on the other side, and Ruffs is good for a wall break, keeping the map a little bit open. It is also good to ensure that single target brawlers don't get as much value. So I don't think that this Ruff picks is bad by any means, but they need to compound it with a brawler that can actually decisively use all the abilities that Ruffs brings to the table.
100%. I'm looking for them to bring a brawler with a good hypercharge, and that's exactly what they're going to do. We're going to get our first look at the brand new Leon buffies, guys. But if you remember from back when Leon first got his hypercharge, it was one of the stronger ones in the game. It never really went away. They did tune it down a little bit, but mostly just by making it harder to acquire, which is going to be able to be worked around by the fact that Colonel Ruffs can get that hypercharge treat and feed it to the Leon. So I really like this combination. I think it's a fantastic idea. And I think that the Leon buffies are definitely a little bit underrated right now. So I'm excited to see how that works as we see Sandy get picked up by Flyetes.
Yep, Sandy's going to be coming out. I like the Sandy pick for a multitude of reasons. One is that you have multi-target hits. It isn't that long for a range attack, but it is enough that you can ensure that you can peek around walls and whatnot. You also have the super, which gives you the shroud, and also the root sands can help find out where the enemy brawlers are. They're going to compound this with a trunk, and I like this trunk pick. As long as they know how to play trunk, we're going to be good.
I think Trunk's a really solid aggro to bring out into this situation. He's not going to be able to get snuck on by the Leon quite as hard as a lot of other brawlers might be. Obviously, going with that tank, Ice Frio Hilo is going to look to add a tank counter for their last pick. They're going to go with Otis, who somehow avoided any nerfs, even though he's been one of the best tank counters in the game for quite some time now. I feel like that's a really good option considering he outranges the Sandy and can hang with the spike at range too. So I like both of the comps that we see. I really have my eyes on this Leon. I feel like if the Leon buffies are as overpowered as I think they might be, then Ice Frio Hilo might have the comp. But if Leon's able to get dealt with, I like it for Flyetes.
We're going to go into game number 1 off the second set between Ice Frio Hilo and Los Flyetes. Ice Frio Hilo won the first one in a free win because of the mispick coming in from Los Flyetes. Let's see if Los Flyetes can win back one here to even out the score.
That's certainly not the start that they were looking for. With that they picked it up. We're already going to see Peter popping his Sandy gadget quite early. He's going to get caught in a bad position because of that. And so far, all of the positioning is on the side of Ice Frio Hilo. Ice Diego's got 4 gems in the middle on that Otis. And you can see the additional speed coming in from that Lollipop drop gadget on the right side. That is part of the new Buffy. And Saba is taking complete advantage of that, just absolutely zooming around his invisibility radius.
Indeed. Ooh, and now Starboy goes in. He gets a kill on a Brad. Bari is also out behind the walls there. As Diego can't really do much in that situation, but that being said, it's not a bad spot if you're Ice Frio Halo. You have the 6 gems, but you've lost a lot of control, so that is something that you work towards next.
Yep, and they are a little bit trapped in by their own walls that they have, but Saba's using the super. He's going to go for an assassination on Predicador, who is ready with the life plant gadget and the super to be able to keep that threat at bay for now. The positioning is certainly on the side of Los Flayetes. As we move into the middle portion of this game, they're stacking up enough gems in the mid to be able to take that lead back. I'm also seeing that Brad Bari's got a hypercharged dog treat up there that nobody is quite able to grab yet, so definitely keeping my eyes open for Saba maybe grabbing that, and here he goes. He's already invisible. He's going to pop the hyper, and surely plenty of damage is due to come down, but really not able to line up his shots that particularly well. He is still able to take out Trump.
Yeah, but that just shows you how strong this new hypercharged Buffy is, because if it was the old Leon, it would not be able to take out Starboy. Now Starboy goes in, and he gets a kill on Sabo. That is crazy. Sobo.
That was really close interaction right there. I was not certain who was going to come out on top of that. Diego does have his hypercharge Otis Star, so he's going to look to go for a play with that. Holding on to it for now, and he is going to land it onto Starboy. That's going to be a free kill. Predicador throwing down the hyper super to clear out a little bit of space, but it's a very even game right now. These next couple of gems are going to be all what they're fighting for. Peter's going to grab that to start the countdown for Los Flayetes.
Yeah, Peter's very low, so that should probably be the mark. One of the kills on either Predicador or Peter is what they need. Now Super coming in from Starboy. He gets taken down because of the mute. He's created enough room. There is that Ruth Sands as well. That's going to keep down Ice Frio Hielo down. But that being said, they still don't have that much in terms of the gem lead here. They only have 1 gem, but they have control. There is that Super coming in. Oh, the kill is confirmed on Starboy.
Yeah, there's going to have to be a kill here on the side of Ice Frio Hilo to prevent this game, and they do end up getting the kill on the right man for Predicador right there. So we've got yet another reset. These players are going to continue to fight for the mid control. Diego does have 10 gems on his head, so he has got to be the main target. Starboy's going to get muted up here, and Shirley is going to fall with the combination of the Otis and the Ruffs. This game is looking like it could be in the hands of Ice Frio Hilo. If they're able to get that pick, they are, and Saba's going to go for the cleanup. Surely now they can finally have enough gems to avoid a reset.
Indeed, and they also caught the kill on the Starboy, but Starboy might be spawning in with a super, but he has about 5 seconds. I don't think he's going to be able to make it in time. There's a hypercharge from Predicador, but it doesn't matter. They have decided to give up on this one. So this game is going to go with the way of Ice Frio Hielo, and I think they're going to be happy about this one, because I feel like they played this one very clean, and I can't really fault them on a lot of the issues. I feel like they had a bulk of HP to deal with, and wall breaks were necessary, and getting those wall breaks was, dependent on the Ruffs actually getting that super in. So they did pretty well, all things considered.
I agree with that. Yeah, no, I feel like this game is just kind of all about mid control. We saw Ice Frio Hilo had the first group of mid control, then they ended up folding it in the middle of the game and getting it back near the end. So stuff like those Sandy supers that are able to get your team an entire take back are definitely going to be stuff that we got to keep our eyes peeled for. Already the Sandy is going to get into a pretty compromised position, ends up getting taken out, and that results in Ice Frio Hilo once again getting off to a pretty early lead here.
Yeah, what I've also noticed is that not only are the wall breaks like exactly what they need, but they're coalescing together and finding the enemy and trying to get those pinches off, and do a pretty good job compared to Los Flayetes, and as a result they've been getting the better of the enemy team. But once Starboy starts getting his super, then it might be a little bit difficult, because they get to parity. Now Starboy gets the super, he has to heal up and then go in.
Yep, and you notice Ice Frio Hilo is doing a little bit of rotation to get the wall breaks that they want here, clearing out a little bit more room for Saba to get that treat. He's using his invisibility, but being pretty patient with it so far. Also, with the lane switch, they're able to get Diego a little bit more into Starboy, which is exactly what they want. They need their tank counter on that tank, and everything is going the way of Ice Frio Hilo right now. They've already got a hypercharge stacked up for Diego, and they've got another one with the treat there.
Yeah, they've been playing their cards right. They've been going for the right marks, and they've been completely coming together whenever the trunk goes down. So good stuff coming in from them. There's a mute as well. I know kill on a Predicador. I guess he didn't Predicador that one. Starboy going in, but he should be taken out. He tries to find the kill. He is. He gets the reset, but the gems now are going to be picked up by Diego. And I feel like that might be a bit more difficult to take out the gem from, because it's all in one person.
Absolutely. All things considered, this is pretty much what Ice Frio Elo wanted in this situation. They've got their one gem carrier that they need to protect, and it's really going to be all on Starboy to try to get this reset, but he is the lone member remaining, and as this clock ticks down to 0, that is going to be Ice Frio Elo grabbing their first real set win, their second technical set win. So already off to a fantastic start against our opposition in Los Flaetes here. They only need one more set to take this to the bank.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a fortunate first set win. I can't believe they played out of their minds to get that one. But, you know, this second set was a really good one. They played really well here. They got all of their pinches. They communicated well as a team. They found out exactly when they should address the trunk. And I feel like the trunk was a little bit predictable in the way he was going in. So, I mean, they were going in. So it wasn't as useful of a brawler as they'd want. I feel like Los Flaetes had a decent idea, but the execution from Ice Frio Hiel was really, really good.
Yeah, and looking at those Leon stats too, 4 kills and only 1 death on an assassin is definitely something that makes me feel Leon is going to be pretty strong. I feel like he definitely took a lot of positioning just by having invisibility and making the other team stress out about where you might be. So I feel like the Leon pick definitely paid dividends for Ice Frio Hilo, as well as the Otis pick, who did have the most damage, the most kills, and 0 deaths throughout the entire set. Definitely some really clean stats from the Otis mid.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And conversely on the trunk there, 6,040 damage. That's like what, 3-4 hits, 5 hits maybe, if you're lucky. But I mean, that is definitely not what you want if you want to pick up trunk on a map such as this one. We are on Super Beach, which is going to be the next set. And while there is a gem grab icon, don't get it twisted, it is Brawl Ball.
Indeed it is. And our map-specific bans are going to be Tara, Max, Bull, Shelly, BB, and Willow. So the BB and the Bull bans, we're not going to get to see those new buffies quite yet, but we are going to get a look at the bow buffies here. I'm assuming that Ice Frio Hilo is going to send that bow into the mid, but with the new additions to his kit, he's going to be able to get more mines, he's going to be able to throw his mines faster, and he's going to be able to get more damage out of those, especially when he's got a hypercharge. So I feel like Bo is going to be one of those brawlers that does kind of take over as one of the better mid options in the game right now, especially in game modes where wall breaks are going to be effective.
Super Beach does have a lot of these walls in the mid, and that makes throwers a really good last pick option. But I feel like with the Bull and some kind of wall break ability, it might make it a little bit harder for some of these thrower options to be brought in. We have Cordelius coming out for Los Flaetes. I like this one. You can jump over walls, you can get your mutant if you want, and a lot of different ideas that you could go for here. I don't think Cord is a bad pick by any means. And Leon coming out, especially in this meta, yeah.
I like the pick a lot. I think the Cord is a pretty safe pick. I'm a little bit worried about his specific matchup, like into the bow, but assuming they're going to be sending that Cordelius lane, so probably hoping to avoid that. I don't mind the Leon at all, and I do like the Nita coming out here too, guys. So out of the 6 brawlers who got buffies, we see two of them are banned out. 3 of them have been drafted already. So clearly these players know that these new abilities are going to be incredibly strong. And I'm just really excited to see how they look once we get to see them in game. I mean, we got to look at 3 of them right here, and the Shade is going to be the final pick for Ice Frio Hilo.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how Nita is going to perform with all of her buffies. Shade is also, you know, perennially good on a map such as this one, so it's not really a bad pick by any means. They have good control in the mid through the bow. They have very strong lanes in both Nita and Shade. I'm interested in seeing what Los Flaetes decide to pick in this one, but it's not going to be an easy one here.
No, definitely not. I feel like they don't really have a great mid option to face off against the bow as of right now, but at the same time, they don't really have too many tankier options to force that ball through either. So I am liking the draft for Ice Frio Hilo a lot more right now. The Stew is going to come out as the final pick, and honestly, all things considered, I think that's one of the better picks they could have gone for. You can get some opportunistic wall breaks with the Stew. You've got a lot of mobility to maneuver away from the Shade and the Nita and around the arrows of the bow. So I feel like it's a pretty solid pick. Overall, I still favor the comp of Ice Frio Hilo, though, Panda.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They have all of their areas covered. It really depends on how well the individual performance of Los Flaetes is, but they don't really have that leeway right now as we go into set number 3, and Ice Frio Hilo, or their opponents, have already got 2 sets, and they're on their way to the 3rd one.
Yeah, definitely the exact type of start that Ice Frio Hilo would have wanted to see. Brad Barry's going to be able to get that kill too, so he's popping that super. Starboy should be able to survive for a little bit longer, but at that amount of HP he's at, he's not going to be of too much use to his team. They do finally clean up the Shade, so a little bit of a breath of fresh air for Los Flaetes as they try to clean up Saba up here in this power position. Yeah,
Pretty Good doing a really good number with that Corey, but he gets taken out there, which is unfortunate. I like the Buffy Bruce as well. It was kind of crazy over there. It's going in ham, and a kill on a Starboy has been confirmed. Now, we're also going to get Peter going down soon, and Predicador, the last man alive on his team, and he's going to try to take down Diego, not able to do so. Brad Barry has a hypercharge, could try to go for something, but Starboy is holding that point like his life depends on it.
Yep, and now we see the hyper getting popped. He is taken to the roam by Predicador, though, so really good play by Predicador to get his teammates out of harm's way for a little bit of extra time. We do see Saba's got his hyper bear, though. He's in a power positioning, opting to save the hypercharge and just use the normal super for the time being. I guess that they think they'll be able to punch this through eventually without using any hypers, and indeed they are correct. That's going to be a pretty easy goal for Ice Frio Hilo, and Ice Saba gets to hold on to that hyper. I think Bo has a hypercharge as well, so going to be a lot of abilities coming out as we get this reset.
Bo kind of wrecking through them. He got another set of mines. This is actually kind of crazy. They're able to close this one out. Bo was nasty with it when the hypercharge hit. What?
These hyper buffies, these new buffies in general are definitely going to be what defines the meta going forward. I've seen enough already to kind of make up my mind, guys. I mean, these new abilities are really busted. We just saw Bo throw his mines. They immediately landed. They immediately explode. He has 4 arrows when he's using his hyper now, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it really does add up, especially with that hypercharge damage boost. So really liking the Bo pick so far. And just look at that totem too to help his teammates get super a little bit easier. Definitely with a comp like Shade and Nita, those brawlers that kind of need that first super to get into the game, I really like the combination.
Yeah, Ice Frio Hilo on match point here. Let's let this have their work cut out for them. It's really difficult here. Oh my god, there's the bear which comes down as well. Diego pushes the ball in, but not able to do so. Starboy able to collect the ball, but it's not going to matter. It is going to be pointless as the ball is going to be passed in from Soba to Diego and into the goal.
We are really starting to see the comp diff coming out to play here. We do have Predicador taking Bradbury into the Cordelia Shadow Realm one more time, which is going to be able to delay maybe the inevitable a little bit longer. Saba and Peter are going to trade out over on the left-hand side. This is probably the best chance to see that we've had for a goal for a minute, and it looks like Los Flyetes might be able to punch this one through. Barely able to get it in time with Saba respawning right there, but either way, a really good response from Los Flyetes.
I feel like the nerves are all at an all-time high because I see these small little micro mistakes, and you know the other team see the mistakes, are getting excited, and they also make the same mistakes as well. And there is a kill on a Peter. There is a huge super coming in, but now Predicador is able to put the Shade into the realm. It doesn't matter. Ball's being passed up, but it gets passed up to Peter instead. Peter gets the ball. He tries to clear it. Hi! Oh my God! Super kick out of the way. Herculean defense coming in from Los Flyetes.
That certainly should have been a goal for Ice Frio Hilo. They've got to be punching themselves over that. A little bit rushed with the pass right there, but they are going to have to try to recover and continue to hold out for the rest of this game right now. We are tied up at 1 apiece with under a minute left on the clock. All positioning is favoring Los Flyetes, but they don't really have that much utility to work with.
Indeed, Hyper Bear was down, pushed people back as well. 40 seconds on the clock, and it is at parity here. It is up to Ice Frio Hilo to get this win because it is in their predicament here. But unfortunately, Los Flyetes is not going to let that happen.
Yep, and once this map goes down, it's certainly not going to favor the Shade and the Nita too much. So I feel like the overtime matchup could definitely go in Los Flyetes' favor. They're going to be trying to rush this through here. The super pass is going to be quickly intercepted by Diego. They're not really sure what the game plan was with that swing of the rock right there. But with 10 seconds left, it seems like we are due for an overtime. Diego throwing out his last set of mines before these walls go down.
So Bo puts the ball down on the left-hand side, and now we're going to go in overtime. The walls are going to come down, and as they do, Hypercharge is there for Peter if he can use it. Hypercharge being put down by Diego. Peter goes in on the left-hand side, but there is finally a bear, and then on the right-hand side, Predicador has the ball. He clears it, but he's in a very difficult spot.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how quickly Diego is cycling these hypercharge mines every single time he gets it. But his teammates, once again, are just not able to do too much without the walls. We do see a double kill coming out from Diego, though. Pretty much single-handedly keeping his team in this overtime bout. Very exciting stuff coming out here, but we're going to see Ice Frio Hilo pushing up with the ball. The mines are going to be quickly placed down. Should be no problem for Peter, who's got a dash ready. And once again, we just see none of the other teammates besides Bo are able to get too much damage in OT.
Yeah, I feel like it's mostly been Diego kind of ensuring that his team gets a dub here, and there is no kills. There isn't going to be any kind of way for Ice Frio Hilo to win this one. We're going to go into game number 3 of this set here. It is still match point for Ice Frio Hilo.
It is indeed, and they've got to be punching themselves because they kind of had that game in the bag, but they messed up the super pass play, and they were able to. Los Vlaetes was able to defend it. So definitely a winnable game for Ice Frio Hilo that they probably let slip a little bit. Got to assume that they'll be a little bit more dialed in, especially in the beginning portion of the game when the walls are still up. But we're into game number 3, tied up at 1 game apiece. Winner of this is going to be winning our Brawl Ball set, Pan.
Oh yeah, for sure. And they're gonna be winning. Oh yeah, that's true. I'm sorry. Oh, this is a little bit crazy, and I feel like a lot of teams right now, the teams we're seeing right now, are playing a bit safe here because they've had a lot of pressure in the last 2 games, so they want to keep it a little bit careful. They don't want to make too many mistakes and get punished for it, and as a result, you're seeing a little bit more conservative gameplay coming out.
Absolutely. We're going to see the ball getting swung left to Bradbury here. Ice Frio Hilo know that they need to try to make their play before any of these walls go down, but here comes the super from Bradbury. He cycles it completely already. Got to be pretty close to a hypercharge already. He's going to try to get the ball and maybe go for a goal here, but the angle might be there. Is it there? It's barely not there. Ooh. And the defense is somehow going to hold strong for Los Vlaetes.
Starboy popped his super at the right time, got that speed to get out of that mine's way. But what? Diego already has another hypercharge, but unfortunately he puts it down directly on wherever the Stu player is there. So it doesn't even matter, honestly.
Yep, and Peter's barely going to be able to dash out, disarming that final mine right there. Predicador's got himself a little bit in over his head here, and the positioning for Ice Frio Hilo is there. The ball is cornered for now, so Los Vlaetes trying to stall as much as they can. Bradbury's got the ball, and it's a 3v1, surely going to be enough for Ice Frio Hilo to punch it through, and that they do. So they are 1 goal away from winning this game. Realistically, they just need to defend for 1 more minute to take this matchup.
Yeah, and Hyper Bear is there, and we get the stun off on Peter as well. Starboy is the next to go down, and it is over. That's all she wrote. Ice Frio Hilo take this one 3-0 against Los Vlaetes.
Yeah, definitely when the walls were up, they had the matchup advantage. We saw the 1 overtime game did go the way of Los Vlaetes, but the entire first minute 30, the entire first 2 minutes of the game, it was all Ice Frio Hilo there. They definitely looked like the better team, drafted like the better team, and played like the better team. So very deserved victory going to Ice Frio Hilo in our match number 1 of the day, guys.
Yeah, they played amazingly well, especially the first set there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But looking at the match stats here, I gotta say, you have to look at the number of kills that the Shade got, right? 20-6 is crazy.
No, I think that was the bow, yeah.
Yeah, that was bow. I mean, they've all done amazingly. Just look at the stats.
Yeah, no, those were insane stats. I really did like the draft from Ice Frio Hilo, especially that bow pick we saw as the walls did go down. While his teammates weren't able to hang too much, Diego was very much able to hang on that bow pick. Almost 300k damage in 3 games. Absolutely ridiculous as far as the stats go right there. Teammates not too shabby either, but overall, I feel like the bow pick was definitely the most impressive thing I've seen so far.
Now, if you look at the number of supers, right, we have Diego at 28 and 22, and that is considering the brawlers that they are, which is Bo and Shade, right? But on the other side, you have Peter, who was running the Stu, and he got 58. So it's just a showcase that how many supers that the Bo and the Shade actually got. They're able to get half the number of supers that a Stu can get, and a Stu can get a super in just 1 hit. That is crazy to me.
It actually is insane. I'm not going to lie. Like, they did an amazing job playing with the map that they've got, playing with the matchups that they've got, getting that many Shade supers. It's actually a little bit ridiculous. I envy people who are good enough at Shade to play like that, but that was pretty textbook. And Ice Frio Hilo looked good, man, but they are going to be playing in our match number 2, which is going to be between Enosis Esports and Ice Frio Hilo. So we're going to have to see if they can keep that momentum that they got from beating Los Vlaetes and bring that into their matchup against Enosis.
Yes, Enosis Esports is a completely Chile squad. We have Dacon, Bast, and Exit, all 3 members from Chile. They're going to go up against Ice Frio Hilo. That's what you said, right? Okay, yep. Yeah. So we just saw them play, and they played pretty well, actually. Yesterday wasn't as good a day for them, but that was also because yesterday we had a lot of issues and whatnot. So, you know, the games and everything is a lot more stable now, so it's going to be a little bit better.
Yep, absolutely. And the teams have had a whole extra day to prepare for the new buffies, for the new balance changes. So hopefully these teams are going to have their drafts a little bit more dialed in. Enosis has the advantage of getting to see what buffies Ice Frio Hilo wants to bring into the mix as well. So surely if I'm on Enosis, if I'm one of their coaches or analysts, I'm certainly looking at maybe getting that bow out of the way. I feel like that's definitely a brawler that should probably be getting banned out a little bit as we move into our later days of our matches today. But yeah, I feel like that was definitely a really broken ability. We didn't get to see quite as much from the Leon and the Nita, but regardless, still definitely stronger in the meta than they were last time we had a match day.
I mean, last time it was a lot of uncertainty. Last time also last time I just kind of did the same mistake as we did yesterday. So I don't know. It's just like not the best situation. But that being said, I want to see how this one does play out because Exik is a really good player and I've heard about him quite a lot. So I want to see what he brings to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we should have a pretty banger matchup set up here. But in case you guys weren't aware of how the format works, these are our 6 matches for Group C. And whoever has the best record, taking into account the sets, is going to be our champion of Group C, making it into our grand finals, as you see here with the double elimination bracket. So starting 2-0 for Ice Frio Hilo would certainly be a fantastic start. It doesn't secure it for them, but it gets them pretty close to being there. So Enosis knows that. They know that they've got to beat this team if they want to try to keep the momentum rolling in their favor. So definitely a lot of pressure for Ice Frio Hilo being up 1-0 in matches already.
Crazy stuff here. I want to see what South America West bring to the table, and they have been really, really good in terms of adapting, at least in the last few days that I've seen. The meta has shifted a lot in, I guess, the past few months. We've had a lot of addition of buffies, the changes, the bugs, and etc. So things have like changed a lot. But that being said, we're looking at the prize pool here, and the first place gets the invitation to the Brawl Cup, which is why, you know, this tournament is called the Road to the Brawl Cup because we're trying to figure out which team is actually going to be representing this region of the Brawl Cup. Second place gets 2,500, third gets 15, and fourth gets 1,000.
That's true. So by winning Group C, whichever team comes out on top of Group C is going to have minimum $1,000, maximum an invitation to the Brawl Cup to represent South America West. Overall, guys, a ton to play for considering the time of the year that we are in right now. Very early in the esports season, already getting awesome tournaments with awesome prize pools like this. So I appreciate everybody who's tapping in to watch this awesome South America West action. And I hope you guys are really excited for our next game because we're only through 1 out of our 6 matches today, guys. We've got plenty more Brawl Stars where that came from.
Just waiting for teams to get into those lobbies, and I gotta say I am interested in the serious challenge. I've got about like on one of my accounts I managed to get all of the 99 wins, so like I got the serious, but like I'm looking forward to doing the challenge as well on my main account because what you only get 20 boxes or something. So it's gonna be it's the least forgiving box event that we've had. So you know you gotta ready up with all your friends and try to get those wins in. It's going to be difficult though.
Absolutely, but I feel like it's only fair because Sirius looks to be like a incredibly fun, incredibly busted brawler. I'm really excited to see how he's going to play once he is available in esports, which he isn't today. Just to once again clarify, guys, no Sirius available today, but he seems like he's going to be a really fun and strategic brawler. I got to play a little bit with him in the mirror matches, and the ability to maneuver your shadows around the map seems like it definitely adds a really high level of complexity, especially once we start seeing some competitive teams get their hand on Sirius. So I'm excited to see that as we move into the future, Panda.
Oh yeah, and there's this one aspect of Sirius which a lot of people don't really know because they haven't played it, right? So it's the thing that every hit that actually collects the final shadow, like you have to hit 4 hits to collect the shadow. So every hit that collects the final shadow is the one which will be the brawler. So basically, if you hit Anita, your shadow becomes Anita. If you hit like a Piper, then your shadow becomes a Piper. But it also depends on the order in which you do it. So like the earliest edition is going to be the one which you summon first. The second edition is, so it goes in that cycle. And what that means is that when it comes to comp, you have to be very deliberate about which hits you want on which people at which point of time. Because say you get a shadow for brawler that you don't want, it's going to be detrimental to you. We're going to go into our next set here, the first one between Enosis and Ice Frio Hilo, and it's going to be on Bell's Rock.
Yep, and we're going to have our global bans for both teams getting Mina out of the way and Globert, actually. So we've got a mirror as far as our global bans go. So no Mina, no Globert for this entirety of the match between Enosis and Ice Frio Hilo. Our Bell's Rock specific bans are going to be BB, Brock, Gray, Leon, Mortis, and BB. With Rico being the first pick, I do still feel like even though he got his supercharge rate nerfed by a little bit, Rico's still going to be one of the stronger brawlers in the game and definitely one of the stronger brawlers on this map, especially in that middle lane.
The Rico is so oppressive once you get those bounce shots and push people back on various sites and whatnot, and it also synergizes well with other brawlers. We're gonna have, Icefair Halo going for the Colt pick. That is an interesting one. I can understand if they want to go for a wall break. Maybe the gadget, which allows you to steal ammo, might be the decision why they want to go for it. But I feel like it's mostly to clear out the walls and have a little bit more firepower. But I don't agree as much. I feel like Colt is a little bit too much of a risk here.
I'm not the biggest fan of the Colt pick either, Panda. I am very intrigued to see which gadget they're gonna load into the game with. If they are going with that wall break gadget, it will make the strategy a little clearer. But if you're playing Colt for the wall break and still going with the speed loader gadget, then you really got to make sure you charge up that first super quickly, which could add another level of complexity into the strategy from Ice Frio Hilo. They do get an Angelo on the board, which is I was gonna say a little surprising considering Pierce is open, and there goes Pierce, there goes Bo
and Bo.
I really like this draft for Enosis Esports, Panda.
Yeah, it's crazy. They have the ricochet shots, they have the Pierce, they have the bow. It is explosive. Pierce also got a hypercharge now where you get twice the number of projectiles with your super. And with the bow, we've seen how good bow is in the first set. I already think that the draft has kind of gone away from Ice for Halo, so it's going to be very difficult for them to come back from this one. They are going to pick up Sprout, and I feel like this might be the possibility of them winning this, but they have to be very careful about how they do this and ensure that they don't get wall breaks against like the bow. But I feel like the Colt is a sitting duck.
It's a tough situation. The Colt and the Sprout kind of are there for opposite reasons. I feel like Ice Frio Hilo kind of had to react to the draft that Enosis put onto the table. I'm definitely worried about the bow hypercharge binds being a problem for the end game as well if I'm rooting for Ice Frio Hilo here. So definitely a lot of things that have to be taken into account. I do think Enosis has on paper a stronger comp, but we're getting into the game right here. Colt is indeed on the wall break gadget, so we're going to see that wall go down very quickly, and that's going to be a little bit tough for Six to try to get some of this damage in.
I just realized they're 6-7 over there. Oh my god. This is crazy. Yeah, let's see if 6-7 is able to beat Ice Frio Hilo. Right now, they are kind of suffering against the range that Sprout is bringing to the table. They're moving up a little bit, and finally they've got a little bit more control than they had at the start.
Yeah, it looks like Rico's having a tough time finding the angle while staying out of Saba's range on the Sprout right here. So likely going to have to wait until the end game to find too much value on the Rico right now. The matchup on the left-hand side is pretty even between Seven and Brad Bari. Nobody's able to charge up a super on the side of Enosis quite yet, which is definitely going to be something to look into as we get into the end game. Those Bow Mines and Rico super and Pierce super are going to be so impactful.
Oh yeah, Seven's being tapped up a little bit by Brad Bari. Brad Bari has been getting the better of these interactions here, especially as Angelo, but now it's in a very difficult, weird spot to be in. There is a bouncy castle brought by Six, and that heals him up a little bit. Ooh, what a huge super coming in from Soma, completely splitting apart the map and everybody in it, and that's going to be round 1 to Ice Frio Hill.
That was a lot of bodies dropping in the very end of that game, but it seems like that Sprout pick is paying dividends for Ice Frio Hilo. They were able to use it to completely zone out the entire enemy team in that final interaction, and Six was doomed to kind of fall from the second that wall went down. Peter is going to be tapping up Ice Diego, though, and he is going to be able to survive for the time being, but now that Pierce has that swimming pool available, you got to be really careful facing off against him.
Yeah, and this Sprout hedge is a little bit difficult here. It comes down once more and pushes back everybody there. Seven, oh, getting the tag off. Oh, there is also that super coming from Peter. So I like the fact they were able to collapse completely on that Sprout a little bit, push it back, but you know, they aren't able to get those kills that they need.
Yeah, Diego's in a really tough spot right here. It's not a super favorable matchup going Colt into Pierce, and he's losing a lot of positioning and HP because of that. As the smoke starts closing in, positioning definitely on the side of Enosis, and Saba does not yet have a wall to be able to zone everybody out, so things are definitely looking a little bit better. They've got the bow mines in the mid as well, so Saba's going to have his work cut out for him. He's the only member of his team remaining, and he's likely going to walk it into the smoke, giving this round to Enosis. We're tied up at 1 apiece.
Yeah, good stuff coming from Enosis Esports. I feel like the Sprout has to communicate better with the Colt in order to get those pinches off on Peter, because Peter is the crux of the composition where they fall apart. And identifying that, they've decided to go for a lane swap where Diego goes on to Seven and Brad Bari goes on to Peter instead. So the Angelo versus Pierce matchup isn't exactly the best for Angelo either, but it's much more better. It's much better than the Colt and Pierce matchup.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on that. I think that Ice Frio Hilo does have their optimal matchups right now. We see Seven is extremely weak on this back left-hand side. He's struggling a little bit into Diego's Colt so far. Positioning is definitely not looking fantastic for Enosis. They do have that bow turret back to try to charge a little bit more super. Peter is going to miss his Pierce pool, though. So that's going to be a lot of utility for Enosis backing off. And now they're going to have to kind of fade back into their spawn as they have no pressure.
Yeah, they are bobbing and weaving, trying to dodge these shots. Oh, Hypercharge coming in. 7 might go down. He does go down. Another Hypercharge. Bradbury connects, and now Peter is the last one alive, but not anymore. And that is going to go the way of Ice Frio Halo as they take game number 1.
Yeah, very cleanly played by Ice Free Hilo. I wasn't too sure about the comp, but it seems like that Sprout last pick is going to be enough to kind of completely dominate the positioning and the pace of the game. By being able to throw down and pick up those walls at the exact time you need them, it just allows you to have such a team push at the end of the game. Just be able to trap out the guys you want to trap out, be able to keep people pushed into the smoke. So I'm really liking this Sprout pick. Thought that Enosis might have a little bit more to combat it, but so far it seems like the bow is just not able to do much at range.
I don't think that the bow is specifically the problem. I feel like it is Iceberg Halo understanding that they have better matchups if they, swap lanes. So whenever they have inopportune situations, they're just going for the matchups that give them the win. Because at the end of the day, matchups do get to be rock, paper, scissors on lane. So if you can, figure out how your opponents are playing and accordingly adjust, then you get those wins in. And they're doing a pretty good job of pushing back Ice Spirit Halo here.
Yeah, we just saw Enosis switch Peter onto Diego, and then Diego immediately switched off back onto 7. So those lane matchups that you're talking about, super important. Both of these teams clearly know that as they try to get their optimal matchups. Looks like it's going to be going the way of Ice Frio, though, because they do have Diego on 7 like they want. He's going to miss on the gadget, but 7 is in a very compromised position. He's going to be the first one to fall as the smoke starts closing in. Everything looked good for Ice Frio Hilo.
Yeah, they've been playing it very smart. I like the way Ice Fairy Halo. Oh, we have another Sprout wall, and it's basically game over for them. That round is also going to go to Ice Fairy Halo. Perfect plays coming in from them. Just being very patient, coming together, and collaborating on some of these kills and pushing back the opponents. I like the way that they've been playing this one.
Yeah, the team plays have been incredible so far. They just, even as much as Enosis is trying to get their right matchups, they're just not able to do so. But 6 is taking a lot of positioning right here, so things are looking a little bit better for Enosis. They've got the enemy teams trapped in the spawn, but it's a little bit early in the round, and obviously the smoke's not going to be coming to help them anytime soon.
Yeah, ooh, finally the hedge comes down, so Soba is going to have a little bit more positioning and control. He takes out that totem, and we've seen how big that totem is, so that gives a lot of value for both Peter and 6 if they do get those shots off. And now Diego in a awkward position, and he should be able to get out of this. Oh no, 6 in a difficult position as well. He might get taken out here.
Nah, he's going to be able to survive barely. That was definitely a pretty tight situation, but he's going to be able to make it out. I do see those bow mines in the middle too, so Saba's got to be incredibly careful as the smoke starts to push him in. 6 is going to miss a lot of his Rico super. Definitely not what his teammates like to see, but the kill is going to be there on the right-hand side. We're left in a 2v2. The smoke is closing in, but Saba has his hedge. That's going to be all that we got to look out for right now. 6 pops his final gadget, and he's the only member of his team remaining. That Sprout hedge is just so cheesy in the end game. That's going to allow Ice Frio Hilo to get another win.
Yeah, I gotta say, despite the fact that they opened themselves up to a pretty bad counter comp, they played this one really well, Ice Fire Halo. They played around the Sprout, and I feel like Enosis didn't have an answer to the Sprout. And honestly, I felt like the Colt was probably the weakest link. So the fact that they came together and worked to ensure that, Enosis didn't get as much value is crazy. Just look at the number of kills that the Sprout got.
Yeah, 4 kills, 0 deaths, and the most damage in the map. Definitely not a shabby performance from our Sprout player on Ice Frio Hilo. Really impressive stuff. Not my favorite draft in the world, but that last pick is just so impactful in the competitive meta that we have with draft nowadays. So they really took advantage of having that last pick to get a pretty full counter to all 3 brawlers that the enemy team brought out. Really good drafting, really good gameplay, and really good use of the hedges in the end game to kind of get automatic wins there.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of the maps where you can counter out with the last pick in a massive way, especially if the opponent doesn't have like a specific counter for throwers, right? If you don't have anything for throwers, you're basically screwed. But that being said, they did kind of have something with the help of the bow mines, but we didn't see the bow connect as many shots as necessary, and which necessitated those wall breaks, which would have, made Sprout less of a threat on the map.
Yeah, it's super difficult to charge up those bow mines when you get outranged by every member of the enemy team. And even though bow is definitely a problem on like Brawl Ball, Gem Grab, Hot Zone, when you're able to have more range parity, if you bring him into Bounty and Knockout, you do run the risk of getting fully outranged. And that's kind of what we saw Ice Frio Hio strategize to be able to take that first set right there. But very well deserved win. Ice Frio Hilo so far yet to drop a set, Panda.
Yeah, and we're gonna go into set number 2. I believe that it is gonna be on Hot Zone. So I want to see how they decide to respond in Oasis Esports, because when it came to the draft, they had like a pretty good draft. But that being said, I would say that Ice Frio Halo probably have a better understanding of what they need to do with the draft, considering that their last pick was so good, right? We're gonna go into our bands here, and it's Ring of Fire. We have the global bands being Mina, Globert, and Mina. Obviously, Sirius is banned out for the tournament here so far, and Spike is going to be the first pick for Inosis. What are the other bands that we have?
Yep, we've got Pierce, we've got Gray, and we've got Crow, who recently got a full new set of buffies. 3 buffied brawlers being banned out by Ice Frio Hio as well, with the BB, Bo, and Leon. So none of these teams want to take too many risks with any of the new buffies. We do still have Bull and Nita being available, but not the greatest map for either of them. Spike is going to be the first pick for Enosis. He did get a little bit of a nerf, but only a little bit of a cooldown nerf to his life plant and a proximity damage nerf to his popping pincushion. I still think Spike's going to be a pretty safe pick, but I do think I prefer the Finks, one of the best mid-brawlers in Hot Zone for a very long time now.
I like the Sphinx here. When you post down the super, it just makes it much harder to actually aggress onto a Finks, especially in a map such as this one. It basically functions, I guess, in a way like an ice rink would, because it denies you a lot of area if you're on the other side. Ruff's coming out, beautiful stuff, because once you get those hypercharge on it, teammates which can actually use the hypercharge in a detrimental way, it is a great option. We have the Poco, DPS Poco is coming out.
Well, at least he wasn't global banned this time, so no set's going to be given for free here. But the Poco pick is pretty popular into the Finks because of the way his shot mechanic works. It doesn't really get countered out by the time warp the way that something like a Spike, something like a Colt would. So I think that that's the reason we see the Poco coming out, likely to pair it with an aggro, and indeed they do. It's going to be Mortis.
I like this Mortis, Spike, and Poco pick here. Spike is going to have so much of control, especially once you have the hypercharge. It is such an explosive brawler. You have to give it respect. And I feel like the rough sandbags would also get like completely obliterated immediately. So it's not going to give you that much of value. So I don't know if Ice Frio Halo have their bases covered with this last pick, but I said the same thing last time around.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what they're going to be able to bring out here. I mean, they've got 2 mid-range brawlers, a lot of support that they're able to bring to the table, not as much aggro so far. So I'm curious if they go with I honestly think a brawler like Bull could be in the cards here. He's got those buffies. He's got a great matchup into Mortis and Poco. Instead, it's going to be the other buffied brawler. So of course I picked the wrong one. That's a little frustrating, but Nita's going to be the pick. I'm intrigued to see Ring of Fire Nita. I can definitely see a way it works out, but it's a pretty open map, all things considered, to bring out the Nita.
Yeah, I mean, Nita does get some range with her hyper buffy and stuff, and even her other buffy stuff, but like, it's a little bit too much of a risk, in my opinion, to run Nita here. Yes, you do have the bear, but like, I feel like it can be completely countered out with just the Spike alone. So we're gonna go to game number 1 of the second set here.
Yep, very curious how this Nita Mortis interaction is going to take place. I feel like both of those brawlers are going to be looking to feed hypers off of each other, so curious which one's going to get that purple button first. It looks like Six is going to try to go in on Diego, who does use his time warp back, going to be able to secure that kill, and things looking good for Ice Frio Hilo. Peter's going to be the next one to fall for Enosis. Full control right now for Ice Frio.
Yeah, and you can see Soba's range is actually quite massive, not gonna lie. And the fact that they have managed to hold on to the mid for as long as they have early on is a little bit crazy, considering the fact that their composition is more of a linking comp. It really depends on Nita. I feel like that bear was a wasted bear. You shouldn't put your bear down when you know you're gonna be dying.
Yeah, not really able to cycle as much as I'm sure Saba would have liked to. They do have their first time warp from Diego, though, so that should help them take back a little bit of control. But Six is going to perfectly predict where the gadget goes back to. Really clean Mortis plays right there. And we've got the lead getting very, very large for the side of Enosis. Seven's got a hypercharge ready to go for his Mortis as well.
Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. I can't believe the prediction. I'm not gonna lie, that was smooth. That was like style points, bro.
That was really clean. That was definitely the type of game-winning plays that you like to see in these type of matchups. But so far, the lead is going to be pretty massive for Enosis. Ice Frio Hilo trying to drag it back in, but they just don't really have the range that they need to do so far. Peter's just been able to outrange them on the poop spike so far and kind of make their life miserable.
Yo, Six has been kind of crazy with it. Oh, he's going in once more. He should be able to find a kill. No, the hypercharge off the Nita is going to be in the way there. But Six, sometimes he reminds me a little bit of, not Angel Boy, of Guesty in some of those plays. That prediction was so good. I might be glazing this guy.
I don't even want to drag it too hard, but the 6-7 combination right there on the Poco and the Mortis was definitely tough. Looking really clean. You know, you love to see those two numbers together. You love to see those two players together. That was really good stuff. I mean, the prediction of the Finks gadget, absolutely pro material right there. So really good play that definitely helped secure his team the victory. Overall, though, it was a very clean round for Enosis. It seems like they've got the draft here.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think that Ice Frio Hilo are playing it bad by any means. It's just that Enosis is dipping them in some of the interactions, and especially there are these small little mistakes that you see coming up and cropping up, especially like when we saw Soba going in. Ooh, a kill has been confirmed from Six on a Barat Bari, and it doesn't matter that he's gone down. It matters that he's closer to his hypercharge.
Exactly, yeah. Diego is going to use that time warp to try to hold down this mid, but he's on very low HP. Lucky to even get away with his life right there, and Six is not going to let that slide. He's going to go in with the combo spinner gadget. He is dealt with, but once again, the Nita pick is just not finding any value. Still has not gotten a bear yet, and the hot zone's already above 60% for Enosis.
Yeah, it's 62%. That's they've been running through them. That's kind of crazy. Now we don't get the prediction that we want, and Six is going to get the kill on Soba. And I mean, we were talking like they were the best players ever, and now they're in an 81-1 situation.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a really clean draft, really clean gameplay coming out from Enosis. This is the type of game that they needed to try to get some confidence back moving into set number 3, because it seems like surely set number 2 is going to be going the way of Enosis. It's not over till it's over, but now it's over. Peter's going to barely get that last percent. Might have been a little bit tough to get back onto the zone, but I'm sure with the Mortis they would have had it. That was a really clean game from the Mortis, and I'm very impressed by that bounce back from Enosis.
Oh, yeah, that was very clean. Considering the fact that the first set went the way it did, I like the bounce back coming in from Enosis Esports. They played this one really, really well. I felt like, you know, if you lose a set and you have like a definitive advantage, it does get under your skin a little bit, and it does affect your mentality going into the next set. So the fact that they were able to bounce back and how is definitely a good sign for them going to set number 3, which is going to be, I believe, Gem Grab.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I feel like Enosis, while they did have a good draft, I kind of chalk that one up more to a bad draft from Ice Frio Hilo. I really don't think there was that much justification for the Nita pick. We didn't really see the bears getting any value. I think we saw 2 bears in that entire set, and neither were really able to get that much pressure, positioning, or damage. So overall, not a fan of the Nita pick. I feel like it might have been a little forced, just trying to cram that new Buffy into the comp. And I'm expecting Ice Frio Hilo to maybe go with something a little bit more comfortable in our next set.
Yeah, I mean, you got to run things which are in your wheelhouse, right? And also in terms of the fundamentals of the mode, I feel like Nita is good, but like there are certain situations where she should be utilized. You can't just force, you can't put a square peg in a round hole. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, and the square peg was the Nita, and the round hole was the very open map in this case. So I feel like that's a decent enough analogy if I force it. But yeah, like you said, we'll have our Gem Grab set coming up next, and that should be definitely a game mode where some of these new Buffy abilities are going to be even more broken, with the ability to reset late in the game with a last second hypercharge. So brawlers like Crow, brawlers like Leon, I feel like could definitely be included in the picks or in the bans. And I'm excited to see which of these brawlers are going to get their time to shine today.
Oh yeah, and if you're not aware, the map pool for Gem Grab for this tournament is going to be Hard Rock Mine, Double Swoosh, and Death Cap Trap. And I want to know from you guys in the comments, what do you think? Who do you think is going to be winning this one? We have had 2 sets, so now we know the different hands, and we have had really good gameplay coming in both the sets. I feel like the first set was very contentious. The second set was a little bit cleaner, but like by any means, I would say both the teams have played really well for the compositions that they're running. So who do you think is going to be winning? I want to know.
I don't even know who I think is going to be winning so far. I mean, we've seen pretty much completely different things between set one and set two for these teams. I feel like Group C so far has given us the most competitive games that we've seen in our Road to Brawl Cup for South America West. And I'm hoping for more competition here as we move into double swoosh for the map. We've got Spike, Lily, Ali, BB, Mortis, and Bo all banned out. Feel like all of these bans are pretty reasonable, but we are going to get our first look at the Crow buffies.
And the Crow Buffy is really nice because I believe the main attack functions very, I mean, I'm talking about the hypercharge because I always more or less talk about the hypercharge most of the time, but the hypercharge attack is the same as the hypercharge super, where it not only goes out and boomerangs in as well, it's also, I believe, pierces brawlers as well. Leon's coming out for Ice Frio Halo, and we know how good Leon can be in gem grab by itself, but now with all of the buffies, it's even more oppressive.
Yeah, I feel like this is a great map for both of these buffies to get a chance to really show off how good they are, because it's always been a solid Crow map. It used to be a solid Leon map, especially with the Lollipop gadget on the right-hand side. It can allow you to just at least threaten to push into that enemy lane at any time. So I really do like the Leon for this specific map. Also, just for the reset ability. If you do get into a bad position in the end of the game, a Leon super can steal the gems back. A Crow hyper can steal the gems back. Obviously, a Tara super can definitely do that same thing too. So I'm liking both of these picks from Ice Frio Hilo. I think they've got their lane situated well.
Ooh, Janet's coming out for Gnosis. I like this Janet pick only because you're able to, you know, spot where people are in the grass once you have to drop the base gadget. It's really good for identifying where people are. It counters out Terra to a large extent and a large degree. And we have another Nita pick coming out. Now, on a map such as this one, I feel like Nita is a lot more viable on this one.
I agree. The grass certainly helps Nita. There's not that many walls for the Nita to operate around, but regardless, I still prefer the double swoosh Nita to the Ring of Fire Nita. So while I could still make an argument that they're forcing it, I do like this comp overall. I think that the Janet is a very versatile, very mobile mid to be able to get away from Leon supers, get away from Tara pulls if she absolutely needs to. Still curious about the Nita's viability. I don't really see her having the greatest of matchups in the world here, especially with that Otis coming out last pick for Ice Frio Hilo. I feel like that Otis is a fantastic option.
Oh yeah, for sure. It is pretty good. I still feel like Nita can be really good, but you have to win lane and allow Nita to go into the lane which has been won. I don't think Nita can win the lane right off the bat against some of these options that she's going up against.
Yep, especially not with Vision Gears being deployed by probably all three members of Ice Frio Hilo, for being honest, but specifically the Otis Vision Gear is super impactful. So I'm curious what lane matchups we're going to get here. I assume we're going to be sending Nita to the left-hand side for the side of Enosis Esports. I expect that to be the case, but like you said, if Nita is able to get full positioning, she can definitely be a menace, but winning that lane for the first time is going to be a tall task.
Oh yeah, for sure. And right now, Six is trying to find Soba, and he does find Soba. There is that help from beyond coming in, helping out Soba. And I feel like it's a little bit of a detente in the middle. No team really forcing their hand, and why should they in this moment?
Yep, and there's the Lollipop drop gadget going down too, but Saba's in a pretty tough position. He's been getting pinched out, outranged by Six and Peter so far, and he's going to be our first member to fall so far. So it looks like pretty solid positioning to drop the base gadget, moving up to assist his teammates. And Six is going to be in a tight fight against Diego here, who's going to have to retreat. He does have a super online though.
But the amount of control that you can get with drop the base is kind of nasty. And then you have the anti-heal coming in from Six. I feel like Six is going to get the better of Diego in most of these interactions. Seven gets dispatched, but that's after dispatching his opponent on the other side. Now Six is going to be going in. Can he take out Soba is the question. He has a super, but I don't think he wants to force the issue.
Yeah, he's already getting so much value just by being in this grass in any way, shape, or form. So I think he's going to be pretty happy with his positioning. He's forced to fall back, though, due to his teammate losing lane. So Seven does have that bear ready to go. Excited to see if the Nita buffies are going to be able to get too much value. He should be able to throw it on Diego here and get something, but it's going to go down so quickly. I don't know. I'm just not sold by the Nita pick still.
I don't know, man. The sibling fights seems to be going pretty evenly, at least in terms of my opinion. No dad here, Bo's not there, but there is a super from Six along with Soba, so like a lot of things are going to be going on. There is that super coming in on both sides to take out each other. It's a mutually assured destruction. The Sansom protocol has been invoked, but now it is 10 gems to 6. Esports have countdown. They also have the gem lead in quite a comfortable manner, but the kill has to be confirmed in either Seven or Peter for Ice Frio Hilo to get the reset.
Yep, and Peter's got his fly, so it's not going to be able to get him. It's got to be Seven, and with 1 second left, they're barely going to be able to drag that out. So Diego Diego's getting away with that final gem. Peter's in a bad spot too. He's got to be really careful here. He is able to survive, but that is a complete swing of the events.
Oh my god!
But this hypercharged crow jump gets all 3 members of Ice Frio Hilo down. Insane jump from 6 right there. He saved his hyper for the optimal moment. That might have secured his team a dub.
That was crazy. He just went in and carved through all the members with that hypercharged super at the right time. That is perfect script coming in from Inosis Esports, and as a result of that, they're going to win this one, and this is their first win in this game here. So one more is going to set them up in a big lead going into the third set, or the fourth set, sorry.
I thought that Ice Frio Hilo was going to get away with that once they got the reset, but that crow jump had other plans for them. That was a lot of damage coming down. I don't even know how we got all 3 of them. They weren't even that close together, but that just shows the power of the new crow buffies, guys. Definitely worth testing out if you haven't seen them already, but we're going to reset for game number 2 here. Enosis is up 1-0. We do see a lane switch for Ice Frio Hilo, but it's not going to go very well for them. Tara's going to be very quick to fall.
Oh yeah, for sure. And on the right hand side, we got Diego going down as well. 7 is going to put out a lot of pressure along with 6 on the right hand lane, and pretty good early start for Enosis. They have the gem lead, they have control as well. There is a lollipop drop, and you're gonna be pretty fast, but like if you dodge into the poison, you're gonna die, and that's exactly what happened. Now Brad Barry might be the next to fall, but no, Diego is able to pick up the slack and ensure that Brad Barry stays alive. Unfortunately, he dies right as I say that he's staying alive.
Yeah, still a good job to delay a little bit and let his team get a little bit of positioning back. Diego went for the sneak over there, but the Nita Bear is going to be able to defend 7. Looks like neither of those two are going to end up falling, but overall the positioning still on the side of Enosis. They've got a massive gem lead, and Peter's already got his fly to be able to get away from any issues.
Yeah, 7 also has a hypercharge. 6 is trying to farm his hypercharge as well, and we saw how good it was the last time around. He has a super. He gets taken down, unfortunately. There is that gravity on Soba that they have to keep track of. Hypercharge coming in from 7. He's going and chasing after Diego. He creates enough room to get all the gems, in fact.
Yeah, really good jump from 6 there. He wanted to bait out Saba's Tara pole. Saba is going to hold on to it and survive on low HP. Peter holding on to his fly as well for a little bit longer. But it's really all going to come down to 7. He's got to be the one to fall if Ice Frio Hilo is going to reset. And they are not going to reset. That's going to be Enosis taking our gem grab set, going up 2 sets to 1. They just need one more to confirm this victory over Ice Frio Hilo.
Yeah, they had I would say they had a much more impressive draft. This Nita pick has not been working out as much as we would want, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The Nita did its job, the Crow did its job. The Crow, the anti-heal, the Janet keeping everybody back is, really good. So what I like about Enosis is that they've taken brawlers that have buffies for sure, but are also viable on the map. Yeah. In like a meta sense, right? Like, we know Nita is better on this map compared to the other map, but it's not the best on this map, but it works because it is still relatively viable. So yeah.
Yeah, no, completely agreed. And we saw the first pick being the Crow was easily the most impactful one. So definitely good. Even if you have a new Buffy, try to take the Buffy that's a little bit better suited for the map. And that's what we saw the Crow just being able to get so much ridiculous amounts of value right there. I mean, I'm honestly like super impressed by all the new Buffies that we've seen. We haven't been giving Leon too much credit, but like, I mean, Leon was dead in the water in the meta like last week, so it's nice to see him get a little bit more play again. Obviously, one of the more fun brawlers to play for both casuals and pros all together. So it's fun to see him get a little bit of spotlight in this meta. I think he'll be continued to get picked up a lot.
I actually have a question for you. Like, we have these Buffies. We've had some changes to Crow, for example, but which star power do you think is definitively the more oppressive one? Because with extra toxic, you deal 5% more damage per enemy poisoned with the Buffy. And I believe with Carrion Crow, you do 40% more damage with your attack and super on enemies under 50%. I feel for those hypercharge situations with the Crow, I think that might be the reason why they were able to get those kills. And as a result, like, I think that Carrion Crow should be the one. But what do you think?
I personally like Carry On Crow a little bit more just because it's easier to tell when you're getting value out of it. I've had other people tell me that Extra Toxic is better though, so I can definitely see it, but it's just a little bit harder to feel that value rather compared to Carry On Crow, where you can see the people's health bar that you're going to be able to deal that extra damage to. So for that reason, I'm going to agree with you and go with Carry On Crow. But I guess we'll see if Crow's going to get picked up in this matchup because we've got our bans in. We've got Barley, Willow, Larry, triple thrower ban coming out from Enosis, Ice Frio Hilo choosing to ban out, draft. The M's, BB, and Mortis, so a little bit more aggressive bans coming out there. And then the first pick is going to, in fact, be the Bow over the Crow.
Yeah, I like this Crow first pick, and I mean, you have so many wall break situations that you could use, but we've seen how oppressive the Crow is. The 4 shots with the Buffy hypercharge, the ability to put down mines faster, the ability to have this turret, which is massively huge. The other thing that people don't talk about is there is that implicit buff to these placeable gadgets like the lollipop drop or the bow totem, where you can place it down not on where you are specifically, but where your teammates are, so you don't have to waste as much time. It provides so much more viability to use those gadgets compared to before you either could use lollipop drop or clone injector, and this is for Leon, for example, and you had no real choice about, you know, the situation or whatever. You just had to make do with it. But now you can optimally use a lot of the abilities like they ought to be used.
Yeah, I think it definitely makes it a lot easier to coordinate with your teammates, and maybe throw like a bow supercharged totem to a teammate who needs that first super a little bit more than you might do. So I think that's a great point, Panda. Definitely something that's a little bit under the radar when we're talking about these new buffies. But as far as the draft goes, Ice Frio Hilo going for a max and a spike, 2 brawlers that are pretty good in mid-range. They've got a decent enough damage while also providing a little bit of utility to the team. Enosis going for a Nita and a Shade, so they clearly plan on keeping these walls up. They want to get the Nita and the Shade a little bit of extra value from the map. The Bow is going to be able to place mines that can maybe explode the goal walls, but I think overall they're going to want to keep this map nice and healthy.
For sure. We saw how good Shade was in some of the earlier sets. I mean, on this map specifically, the ability to, you know, hide behind the walls and just camp, get your super hypercharge, hit those 3-4 shots, get those kills is impressive. But also, that threat is so massive that you can't afford but to, you know, give Shade that respect. Stu's coming out. Now, I've seen Stu in a composition such as this, and it hasn't worked out well. I have to be honest. The amount of bulk that you have from Enosis compared to what you have from Ice Frio Halo, I feel like a lot is going to come down to how the spike is going to be able to operate. And I don't agree.
Yeah, I do think I favor Enosis' comp a little bit. It's going to be tough if the Stu gets the optimal wall breaks in to try to counteract the Shade, but I feel like Ice Frio Hilo certainly has the overtime comp, so that's probably going to be their best win condition. But we are live in set number 4. We're going to see Peter playing his bow totem behind the wall, like we were kind of talking about before the set. Saba's going to be the first to fall very quickly, though, and it looks like Peter might already be able to get a wall break here. If he chooses to do so, he doesn't even need to. They're going to save their supers and score within 15 seconds.
They just held W. They didn't even care. The speed's coming down from Diego. Now, is the speed going to help them, or are they going to die faster? That is the question. 7's going to go in. 6 as well on the hunt. 7 gets the ball. That should be able to be ball. No, they flubbed it in the pressure situation. And the ball's going to be passed to Bradbury. He gets the ball with the Soba. That should be goal on the other side. And we have coast-to-coast gameplay with Ice Frio Halo taking goal number 1.
Yeah, that was
right, their goal.
That was really rushed by Enosis, in my opinion. I feel like they got a little bit too excited after that hot start, but now hopefully both teams will take a little bit of a chill pill here for our reset. 7's going to be going in with his super, but the Max Hyper is there to make 7's job a little bit harder to line up those critical hits. Not really going to be able to do too much. We're going to see an even trade out, and both teams are going to reset around the middle here.
Indeed. Now Peter passes the ball up, and they had the ball in an opportune position here. I don't think it's a bad spot to be in, but 6 is definitely in a really terrible spot. He gets, he doesn't get saved by Bruce. Bruce is going to be coming in on the other side, and that's going to give a little bit more breathing room for the boys in Enosis.
Yep, Bradbury's got his Stu Hyper, Salva's got his Spike Hyper, and that's going to clear out the middle of the map here. It's going to be all on Peter, who is able to catch the ball and clear it to his friend 6. They are probably still going to be able to force that through, though. Really good team play from Ice Frio Hilo. I got to wonder if that game would have been different if Enosis played that second interaction just a little bit cleaner, Panda.
Yeah, that was a little bit crazy. I felt like, you know, they were a little bit too overzealous, you know, getting into the adrenaline. Sometimes they got a cortisol spike, and as a result, they weren't able to hit those. So we're going to go to game number 2 here. But what a beautiful game 1.
Yeah, that was a really fun one. 7 is going to get a lot of damage dealt to him immediately, though. He is going to end up falling, and already things are looking great for Ice Frio Hilo. All 3 members healthy, only Peter, but he's able to clear the ball, might be able to stall long enough for his teammates to defend, and 6 and 7 are going to be strong on the defense. A little bit rushed from Ice Frio this time.
Yeah, 7's going to be pushing the ball up into a better position for his team, and he's also trying to get his super. He gets completely destroyed there. A super coming down for Sova. And that pushes back 6. Now 6, along with Peter, have to defend this onslaught coming from Ice Frio Hilo.
Yeah, and something I've noticed once again, I have not seen the most Nita Bear so far, so even in a better Nita map with better Nita matchups, I'm just still not super sold. I don't know, maybe I'm hating, but Seven's going to be using his Shade Super, trying to get some damage out there, immediately dealt with by Saba, and Enosis has no choice but to corner this ball as they have all of the pressure facing against them.
Bruce comes down and just allows 6 to survive somehow. So we're going taken down because of the hypercharge from 7, and now 6 and 7 are holding on the defensive line. So the Brain Rot boys are working.
They are indeed, but Brad Barry's working too with that Stu Hyper. He's going to get 1 kill, he's going to go back for the 2nd kill, and both of those are going to be confirmed. So full positioning, only Peter stands once again. I feel like he's always getting left on his own here, poor Peter. Diego's going for the dash play, but once again, these teams just cannot help themselves but getting greedy for these goals, and they're going to force it and flub a little bit of that positioning.
Yeah, I mean, you get so excited that you're about to score that you forget that maybe if you hold on, you get a guaranteed goal rather than, like, you know, a Hail Mary.
Yeah, and we've seen both of these teams going for the Hail Marys, and they've suffered for it pretty much every time. Positioning on the side of Ice Frio Hilo, all 3 members up, but they don't really have that spike super that they need to clear out the goal for now. So Brad Barry's going to do a little dash up there. Seven's going in with the hyper, but with this map opening up, there's just really not that much room for him to operate anymore.
Peter gets the ball. He has a super, places it down on the Diego, but doesn't find any value from it just there. Whoa, what? Sova just let that happen to him. He just let that happen to him. That's crazy. Now Brad Barry is going to be pushed down. There's a hypercharge from Peter. He gets taken down, but he's done such a number on Diego. That's crazy. Now it's up to 7, but 7 flops it again with the flop. Oh my god.
There's been so many missed opportunities in this game. It is still 0-0, but overtime does not fare well for Enosis, I'd have to imagine, especially if Brad Barry's got hyper. He's going to use that to bait out the Nita Bear. They should be able to deal with that from a distance. 6 is in a strong position near the ball, but he can't be that close to super, so they don't really have to fear the shot. 7's going in, but there's going to be 2 people dashing away from him. Just a little bit too much utility. The hyper's there, though, and this has got to be Enosis' best chance. Diego is going to survive on 1 shot. Can 6 force it through? He cannot, and the corner is going to be there. Great defense from Ice Frio Hilo.
Monstrous aggression, but despite the fact David is about to take down Goliath, we have 27 seconds left on the clock. The ball's being moved down by Diego and the boys in Ice Frio. And the question is, are we going to actually see a goal in overtime or not?
That's a fantastic question. Diego wants to see one. He's going to pass it through the mid. Saba's got super, but not really an angle quite yet. He's going to swing it to Brad Barry, who is not able to get a super of his own. So it seems like more likely than not, we're going to have this game ending in a draw, guys. Although both teams had plenty of opportunities, nobody was able to score a single goal in that matchup. But it seems like the greed got the best of them.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in Gnosis, right, you're facing the match, not a match point, but you're facing a set point situation, which would take away from the fact that you're going to win outright. So the nerves are definitely on for them, but on the other side as well, like if Ice Frio Halo don't win this, then they have to get in a situation where they have to face a match point. We're gonna go into game number 2 of the set here. Kill has been confirmed from Brad Barry on a 7. Ball's being moved up. Brad Barry trying to go for a goal here, but again, they're gonna force the issue here. Can they get the goal? No, again with the misplays.
This is hard to watch, man. I don't know how we keep saying these same mistakes over and over again, but regardless, the defense is gonna hold for Enosis. They got 7 exactly where they want him to. He's got that super ready to go, just waiting for an opportunity, waiting to smell some blood in the water here, man.
I think I need to go to a cardiologist after this. I can't handle this. This is way too much suspense for me. Super coming here for 7. He hits 1 shot off on Diego's second one as well. Goes on to Sova. So the first correction here, hypercharge as well. Finds so much of value. Is able to get the kill. And Brad Barry, no, he tries.
Yep, good survival with that dash out, but the positioning is still looking strong for Enosis. If they're able to get a Nita Bear, that could be the difference. He's going to pass it up, but once again, a little bit rushed. Stop me if I've said this before, Panda, but they're going to rush the goal, and the defense is going to hold strong for Ice Frio Hilo. So they're resetting in the mid now, but with Saba having that spike super, there might be a little bit of a lane for some more positioning.
If the teams can cure me, the word I'm looking for is calma. Just be calm. Please be calm. They have the ball here, Peter. He's going to push the back up to 7. 7 is in a difficult position because of the wall break from the Stu there, but he should be able to walk this one in unless he gets taken out, and he does. Diego is able to ensure that that goal doesn't go in by, collaborating with Bradbury.
Yeah, thought he might have enough HP to walk it in there. That one is not even his fault. He just didn't have a lane to score there. And the kill is going to be there, though, from 7. So Enosis still holding strong positioning. Even without that many supers online right now, the positioning is strong. The HP is looking strong. But the hypercharge from Saba is going to be more than enough to clear out that space around the ball.
Yeah, 7's going in once more, and now he's going to go up against Diego. He gets so much of value. Hops' hypercharge is able to hit so many shots off, and finally we get a score. Oh my god, 6-7.
It took them long enough, but we finally get to see a goal here. The 6 hypercharge is going to be down too, so that big Nita Bear, that big Bruce Bear is going to clear out a ton of room. The kills are not really going to be there though, and 7 is the lone member of his team. Surely he's not going to find a lane here, but he is going to be able to throw the ball as far away from the goal. With 7 seconds left, the Stu hyper pass is going through to Diego. He's got to score now. It's now or never, but the defense holds strong. Well played by Enosis to secure that goal.
Yeah, and now Enosis is in a pretty good point where they have match point, but they're going to be facing off against Ice Hill, who are having their backs against the wall. So this has been a pretty interesting set here because it's so back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams seem pretty evenly matched. It seems like they're making the same mistakes and having the same shining star moments. So it's been a fun match so far, and I'm excited to see who's going to take this one because, like you said, it is match point for Enosis.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like the gameplay hasn't been the cleanest, but it has been so exciting because there's been so many moments where, things should happen and then it don't happen. And you're like, why?
It's been a really fun one, man. I'm not gonna lie, but we see Ice Frio Hilo trying to take back some of this position here. Saba's gonna be looking for that super. I feel like the spike super in the middle of the goal is really the scoring condition. There it goes. So it's gonna be a lot of slowing, a lot of area denial. Diego's gonna pop super, and surely they're gonna try to force this through. Are they gonna be able to force it through is the question.
Oh no!
The defense is strong, and again.
No!
Oh my goodness gracious! 7 might be out of here too.
No way! Is this gonna happen? Is this really gonna happen? Can he do it?
Wow!
He does it! He does it! Oh my god, 7!
The full court fast break off of the steal is going to connect for 7. Amazing goal, and that is just the opposite of what Ice Frio Hilo wanted to see right there. They went from almost having a goal of their own to conceding, and when it rains, it pours. They've got the bow mines in the goal. 6 is going to fall, though, so the defense will hold strong for a little bit longer, but still, that was a huge swing of events for Enosis Esports.
Yeah, but they still got to be concerted in how they have to do things, right? Because they can't afford to make mistakes. Now, Hypercharge coming in for 7, he gets kill on his soul, but that's huge. Ball's going to be passed up, but 7 knows that he should use his Hyper to get as much value as possible in terms of getting damage on the opponents and making sure that they have not enough health to make any kind of aggressive plays coming in. Now, 6 pops his Hyper as is Soba on the other side. This is not a good spot for Enosis to be in by any means, and a complete team wipe has been confirmed by Ice Frio Hielo, and as a result, we have an equalizer 48 seconds in regulation time.
That positioning was made possible by Bradbury on the Stu Hyper. He cleared out so much room with that. He stayed at full HP the whole time, and now the pressure is going to continue with Diego giving his teammates that speed. Peter's going to have to pop his bow Hyper just for a little bit of pressure to be relieved. 7 is moving up, but he's getting targeted pretty heavily. Probably going to be in his best interest to chill out with less than 30 seconds left. 6 does have a bear. He might be able to go for it, but he's going to have to play it more defensively.
The ball's being passed to Diego. It's going to be passed up to Soba. It's in the middle of the map, and 17 seconds left. In overtime, it definitely favors Ice Frio Hilo. But that being said, we've been in overtime before, and it's been a stalemate. So let's see how this one goes. Nita doesn't have the super, though, this time, so it might not be as good. 7 has a Hyper. He pops it here. Gets a little bit of speed, but they are on their A-game here. I'm not sure if that was the best idea to pop the Hyper in there.
I don't think it was. I don't really see what the point of that was. Kind of just used it for the movement speed, but he's just holding onto this ball, waiting for a chance to hopefully charge up a little bit of super, make a little bit of a play, but the comp definitely favors Ice Frio Hilo and OT. 6 is trying to get that Nita Bear up, but he is just falling a little bit too weak. He can't really hang with the Max and the Stu at this range.
Yeah, and I don't think that the dash on the Stu was the best move by 7 there. Definitely ill-advised because, Stu can just dash out. So, it's not the best situation. Your ball's going to be passed up to Diego. Can he get the goal? Finally, they coalesce together and force a set number 5.
They were probably overdue for a goal like that, but the overtime comp just favored them way too much to be able to choke that one. So really well played by Ice Frio Hilo. Definitely a lot of back and forth in that set, but they were able to keep their head just cool enough to be able to prevail in that set. Now we're going to be moving on to our first set 5 that I think we've seen throughout the entire Road to Brawl Cup South America. So I'm fired up about this one. What game mode do we have sitting for us, Panda?
We have Bounty next, so that's going to be very fun, as especially as the last set. And honestly, okay, I have to say these teams are very evenly matched, so we're having a very contentious display, and as a result, it looks really good. Like I'm so excited about it. Yeah, there are lots of misplays, but sometimes you got to get those misplays in to have a little bit of excitement. And I gotta say, South America West is not disappointing.
No, definitely not. These teams have been going good play for good play and bad play for bad play with each other. It seems like this is by far the most evenly matched thing that we've seen so far in our Road to Brawl Cup. So I'm having a really good time watching this. I love watching Brawl Ball personally, and like some of those plays, like the Shade taking it coast to coast. That's just exactly what we're here for, man. That was absolutely electric. Had us both on the edge of our seats, and I'm hoping that we get some more action like that as we move into set 5 with Bounty.
Yeah, I mean the counterplay is so important, right? And this is what ultimately Ice for Halo won that set, but like they had no business trying to force in that second goal in that game because they were already up. And then like the fact that they all died and all overcommitted. Like I can understand one person overcommitting. I can't understand all three overcommitting and dying. I can forgive the fact that the Max accidentally passed the ball and flubbed those mistakes because in those moments you make mistakes, but for all three, that's just like a complete breakdown of the IGL and the communication and the comms. So like they have something to work towards here.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like there's definitely a lot of room to clean up the gameplay for both of these teams here. And with how close the match has been too, I'm sure that they are overly aware of that because they're like, okay, well, if we would have made one less mistake, we would have won that set. If we would have not done this, then we would have had that goal. So I'm sure that they're definitely going to be talking about those mistakes, trying to clean that up as we move into set number 5. Bounty should be a nice change of pace, though. Obviously, Brawl Ball, very fast-paced, a lot more, like a little bit less time to think about what you're going to do. Bounty, on the other hand, a little bit more strategic. They might be able to analyze their matchups a little bit wiser.
Oh, yeah, and Bounty with Shooting Star, Hideout, and Lair Cube. The map that we get is Shooting Star. The fans are going to be, let's see, Leon, Pierce, Angelo, Mortis, Jean, Piper, and the global bands are going to be the same, right? So I am quite excited about this one. We've had 4 very interesting, very contended sets, and it's not a clear we don't know who the clear winner is going to be. I think it's going to go down in the last 5 seconds of the last game.
It probably will with what we've seen so far, but the first pick should be sitting on Ice Frio Hilo here. With the bans that we've got, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Nani. I'm trying to think of some other buffied brawlers that could be pretty good here. Obviously, Spike's always going to be in the mix, but I do think that Nani would provide a little bit more value. Instead, it's going to be a Gray pick coming out first, so I do like that. He does kind of operate in the middle of this map, being able to shoot through the wall in the middle and being able to teleport on anybody who finds himself weak. So I like the Gray pick a lot. I do like the Nani pick a lot as well for Menosis. I feel like those were the 2 best options here.
Oh yeah, for sure. I like this Nani pick especially for Menosis because you have the long range ability to push people back and all of that stuff. But it's a little bit weird though because I feel like Nani has fallen off. I feel like before, the reason you took the Nani is because you had like a win button with a super, because you used to go after squishier targets or whatever, or maybe they were squishy enough to get into one-shot range. But now with all the abilities that we have for shielding, getting out of situations and stuff, Nani needs to be reworked. But we unfortunately don't have that. We have Spike coming out for Enosis right now.
Yeah, the Nani head is really only to get kills in combination with your teammates nowadays, as opposed to the early Nani days when it was kind of an automatic kill button. So definitely agree with the points there. Oh my goodness, those were the worst. But the Spike seems like a pretty safe pick. The existence of the Life Plant gadget is going to do a lot in terms of protecting yourself from the Gray. The area where Spike struggles is against some of the like actual snipers in the game, and so far Ice Frio Hilo have no snipers, and a lot of the best snipers are banned. So I do think that the Spike pick fits in pretty well.
The Spike, we've seen how explosive the Spike can be with that hypercharge, and when it splits up into 2 shots, it just is kind of crazy and insane. Byron coming out from Ice Frio Hilo, that's a pretty interesting pick here. I don't think it's a bad pick by any means. It is one of the more conventional ones, but just looking at the composition here, you should expect a very aggressive last pick coming from Ice Frio Hilo to at least round out their composition, and they go for Gust instead, so they're holding their line.
I was kind of expecting a little bit of an aggro, at least like a hybrid aggro in there too.
Exactly, right?
It's going to be the Gus. I guess that they just want to have like 2 support snipers that can support each other. I don't hate the pick. I think it's fine. I think that the Byron Pier shot could be nice into the Spike Cactus too, if that's what they choose to rock with. So overall, I like the ranges that these teams are adding. No aggro is going to be pretty interesting, so I definitely think Gray is going to be the player to watch on the side of Ice Frio Hilo for getting some of those more aggressive plays.
I'm looking forward to seeing how this one does play out because I feel like it's going to be harder to take out Ice Frio Hilo as a 1-1, but like once one member falls, I feel like they're going to fall like dominoes. But on the other side, there is a lot of like pressure in all the lanes coming in from Inosis. So it's going to be a pretty even match as we go to set number 5. This one is going to decide which team is going to be winning the fixture.
Yep, absolutely massive stakes for this one. These two teams are going to be trying to get off to a good start for their Group C champion hopes. We're going to have 6 playing that life plant to be able to grab that blue star, and that is a fantastic use of his utility. Also, we're going to have 7 getting a kill over there onto the Gust, so maybe a little bit of bad positioning, but overall a really clean start for Enosis. It seems like they've got everything going for them. Diego's not even going to be able to connect his walking cane.
Yeah, I don't think like it's over for Ice Frio by any means. They still have about 90 seconds to come back from this one, but great start from Inosis to ensure that they force the issue. And wow, a big super coming in from 7, but nobody really there to capitalize on it. So was it even required is my question.
It's not bad to get the hit just to try to cycle towards your hyper, because then you can use the hyper near the end for just the raw stat boost. But overall, yeah, it's going to be tough to get a kill with a Nani head alone. The positioning is looking pretty solid for Ice Frio, but because Enosis has that lead, they're able to just spam these bell traps down, which is exactly what Peter has done. So if the end game does come around with Enosis still being in the lead, it's definitely going to be very difficult for Ice Frio Hilo to push through Peter's mines.
Oh, 7. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. He missed that super. Big super coming down from 6. Can he find some value? He does get a lot of slows. Soma getting caught out. Oh, the entirety of Enosis collapsed on him, and it's a 5-star lead. This is very important for Ice Frio. They need to get a kill on either 6 and 7 or 6 and Peter.
Yep, and then 7's going to get a kill with the Nani hypercharge head there. So everything is going the way of Enosis. The bell traps are looking plentiful. Bradbury is definitely treading in dangerous waters right here. He does get connected, and that is going to be his life falling away very quickly. Everything looks to be going the way of Enosis. I don't even think the comp diff is that significant. It's just getting that blue star and having the other team push into you is so impactful. That's what we've seen kind of be the deciding difference here so far, Pin.
Yeah, the first engage, I mean, you should understand whether you're going to win the blue star or not, right? Accordingly, you should try to, ensure that the other team's blue star member who's trying to go in for the blue star gets punished. So they haven't done that as well. They're being a little too aggressive with how they're doing this. They need to be, more patient with how they're going about doing this. So like there are lots of little small minor notes that they need to fix.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious how this first engagement's going to look, because last time 6 just threw his life plant onto the blue star and casually walked up and picked it up. I can't imagine Ice Frio Hilo is going to let that slide this time. But so far, I mean, we're already going to see a kill coming out there. 7 is absolutely tapping on this Nani so far. The blue star is going to get picked up, and we've just got more of the same as far as the start goes, man.
Much better place coming. Oh my god, 6. Oh wow, he almost got punished for that. Ice Diego almost completely put him 6 feet under. There's a super coming in, and it's going to find its mark onto absolutely nobody.
Ice Diego is going to have to use his teleport to get out of 6's spike super. I gotta be honest, this isn't the greatest spike map, but 6 is making it look like he's always been a bounty brawler. Things are looking really good for Enosis. 7 is going to be one shot, but barely gets away with that. The teleport's going to come through for Saba, though, and that's going to be the kill. So only one star separating our two teams. That was a huge one.
Yeah, it was a massive. There was a low taper. Anyway, super coming out on Diego, but he does get healed up by Soba. I feel like that's super again from Nani. I'm probably going to keep on talking about this later, but never mind. 54 seconds left. It is a 1-star game, and it's anybody's game here, but Enosis have the match point.
Yep, it's definitely still in Enosis' favor. They have the lead and they've got the bell trap. 6 does get pulled from long range, but he's going to be able to survive that with the help of his life plant once again coming in clutch. Peter is littering this map with bell traps though, so with only 30 seconds left, Ice Frio Hilo knows that they have to push, but they also know that there's bell traps, so like how do you really make a square out of that circle?
Wow, I love this callback. Very nice. 23 seconds left here. Hypercharge from Peter, along with 6. Big pull there. 6 almost gets taken out, but that hypercharge super has made sure that the area is denied. They have to be careful though, because Diego has that pull. I mean, that jump in. So if anybody gets a bit too low, Diego should be able to clean them up, and that's what they're waiting for. They have to go in now. And that's what they do. They go in for the super, but Diego is going to be taken out, as is Bradbury. And that is all she wrote. Enosis Esports are able to take that dub there.
Certainly a much closer game this time around, but just we never saw the lead in the hands of Ice Frio Hilo throughout that entire set. So it seems like the blue star really did make most of the difference in that one. Grabbing that blue star just so impactful, and that's going to be the final determining factor for what pushes Enosis Esports to a victory over Ice Frio Hilo here. Neither of these teams are out yet, guys. Ice Frio Hilo sitting at 1-1 throughout 2 matches. Enosis sitting at 1-0, and they will face off against Los Playetes in our match number 3 after we wrap this one up.
Yeah, and just looking at the stats here, look at the number of kills that Brad Barry got in this last set here. It is crazy. Or is this is the entire match? Like all of the matches that we had? Or is this okay, because that is crazy, like the number of kills and deaths.
Yeah, no, we definitely saw a lot of really good plays coming out from all 6 members in this match, honestly. Definitely some room for improvement for sure, but overall, we got 2 pretty evenly matched up teams here, which makes me excited because we're going to get to see these guys play again later on today. But like I said, next up, we are going to have Enosis Esports versus Los Playetes. Certainly a must-win for Los Playetes, and Enosis is going to be looking to extend to 2-0 and put them in a power position to win Group C. But we're going to take a quick break in the casting booth before that, guys. We've got our 3rd match coming up here soon, but thank you guys for sticking with us. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Road to Brawl Cup essay. Unfortunately, I'm not in VC with Duncan because something's happening to my Discord. So while I figure that out, I think Duncan's going to be taking it over.
I think you're muted on Discord, Panda. I can't hear you right now.
Hi, Duncan. Can you hear me? He can't hear me. Yeah, so my Discord isn't working. Anyway, welcome back to the Road to Brawl Cup essay. And we're just, having some technical difficulties right now. I apologize. I don't know why my Discord isn't working. And as a result, I can't hear him. So I'm just... Wait, I got to figure out how to send him a message.
I guess. Well, I can hear Panda now. So we'll try to get these technical issues worked out real quick, guys. Our apologies for that. But...
Okay.
Okay. Panda, can you hear me?
Wait, you can hear me on you can hear me on the vmix, right?
I can hear you on the vmix, yes.
Okay, good. Then we're good. Then we can go.
Perfect.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys. But welcome back, everybody. We are coming back just in time for match number 3 of the day, which is going to be between Los Playetes and Enosis Esports. throughout their first, both of these teams have played one game so far. We had Ice Frio Hilo beating Los Flaetes, so Los Flaetes sitting at 0-1, out of position to qualify for our finals so far. Enosis, on the other hand, just defeated Ice Frio Hilo 3-2 in a very, very tightly contested match. So things looking good for Enosis, not so much for Los Flaetes, but it's anybody's game here. Los Flaetes need to definitely make a strong comeback to try to get themselves in position to win Group C.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely an uphill battle considering the fact that they already conceded, and they are going to go up against somebody who's beaten the opponents that they beat, that they were beaten by. So it's definitely going to play into that, and seeing the level of gameplay that they're going to go up against is going to be hard. But this is what we do in esports, where we have difficult opponents, and you got to rise to the challenge.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, they've got their work cut out for them for sure. It's got to feel a little bit bad watching the team that just beat you lose to the team that you got to play next. But overall, I feel like there was enough mistakes in that last set that Los Flaetes knows that there's areas to take advantage of. Also, with the meta being so new and fresh with all these new buffies, you got to think that there's going to be a little bit of a variety as far as the drafts go. So I think that both of these teams are going to be trying to continue to exploit the recently buffied or buffed brawlers just in general, and try to catch their opponents lacking with some more new, fresh drafts.
I want to see what they bring to the table, because we've seen how good some of these brawlers are. I feel like I think we've come to the point where we feel like Nita isn't as good as some of the teams rate them, so maybe not pick them up on certain maps. But even maps which are conventionally good for Nita aren't ones where she's doing well in. So maybe that's like I guess something that they have to address with maybe
perhaps. Yeah, but we've got our
match.
Sorry, I had you cut out there for a sec.
No, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, we've got our first match, guys. We're going to be starting on Brawl Ball, my personal favorite game mode. So very excited to see what action, especially after that last set that we had for Brawl Ball with just so many ups and downs, backs and forths. Our global bans, Los Flaetes is going to get Mortis and Ems out of the way. Enosis opting for the Globert and the Mina once again. The map-specific bans, Shade, Mo, Stu, Pierce, Bo, and BB. With the Willow coming out for the first pick, you don't often see throwers come out with the first pick, but if you do, it's more often than not going to be a Willow.
Max coming out for the side of Enosis Esports, and Max is going to give you that speed. We've seen how good Max can be, but we've also seen how bad Max can be as well today. So the whole gamut of Maxes have been showcased, and want to see what they decide to bring up here, because Willow as a first pick is I don't know if it's the best idea. Usually you go for the thrower as a last pick, so yeah,
I agree with that, but I think Willow is the only first pickable thrower just because she has that Hex to be able to counter any aggression. Definitely could see that mind control coming in handy against the Max, but I really do like the Chester pick. Even though it does not fare well into Willow, you'll obviously be able to get that wall break eventually that can counteract the thrower. And overall, since he got a damage buff, I do think that Chester is going to be one of the stronger tank counters in the game. So they're kind of preempting any tank pick that Los Flaetes might bring out here. And instead, Los Flaetes is going to say, we're not going to go with tank then. We'll just go with Anita instead.
I mean, that certainly is an option and a strategy here. Chester is on the other side, so they gotta figure out how they're gonna go about doing this one. But I like the Nita in this map. I don't know. I still like the Nita in this map.
It's a great Nita map. I can't lie. I've been hating on the Nita a little bit today, but this is a good Nita map. I will fully admit it, especially if there's not that many wall breaks available. So Chester's ability to get that wall break super is definitely going to be something to keep your eyes out for, with both members of Los Flaetes obviously kind of having brawlers that do better when the walls are still up. So I think that it makes a lot of sense. I really like that Crow Buffy coming out too from Flaetes.
Okay, yeah, that's great stuff. I like the Crow here, and Enosis have to pick up their own Dynamite, so they go for that. I like this pick here because I feel like Dynamite isn't really addressed that much by anything other than specifically Willow. So if they swap that lane, maybe it might be better for the Dynamite. Not sure.
I do think the Dynamite pick actually could be really impactful. I feel like he doesn't really have any bad matchups here. I mean, the Crow with Jump is going to give him a little bit of issues, but overall, I think this is a fantastic time to bring out the Dynamite. I definitely have high hopes for a very fun pick, and we're getting into our game, guys. Los Flaetes in blue against Enosis Esports in red. So far, not too much to report on. It's just going to be Predicador kind of outranging the Max in that mid and getting a little bit of position from his team.
Yeah, beautiful stuff, and so much of control coming in from Las Planetas. Inosis Esports, though, have been very calm with how they've been playing, so I don't think this is going to be something which is difficult for them to get back against. And Seven pushes the ball up. They are going to be not as healthy as they would like. Now, Chester goes up and gets the kill against Predicador, but he's going to be going down. He gets a kill onto Peter as well. That's crazy.
Insane plays from Six on the Chester so far. He is an absolute menace over there, a one-man army on the right-hand side. Predicador does have a super, but as these walls go down, Peter is just going to have a little bit of a harder time getting into the mix, so I'm definitely keeping my eyes on that Nita versus Chester matchup. I do see Seven has his max hypercharge ready to go too, so this could be what Enosis needs to try to get a little push going. They're all going to group up, and that's going to be a ton of value for the team. He actually is going to be able to get a free goal too, because Predicador just jumped all the way out of the way. I do not really know what his game plan was there, but he left the goal open with nobody home.
One might say he didn't Predicador the situation. Anyway, big super coming out from Peter on the left-hand side. Starboy is able to dodge that out regardless. There is that super from Six, and we saw how he was able to take down Predicador last time around, so there, be careful. And Peter is obviously very scared off the Chester and is giving it the respect that it deserves.
Yeah, definitely. Predicador is going to be quite weak there. He's going to have to pop that shield gadget just to stay alive for a little bit longer. Starboy, on the other hand, though, taking a lot of positioning on this left-hand side. I have not seen a super in pocket yet, but once he gets that, that's going to be the best condition that Los Planetas have to score.
Ball from Seven. It's going to be going up, but Starboy should be able to get the better of him in most of the situations, but he has to be careful about how he's going to go about doing this now. Hypercharge coming in. Oh, Las Planetas. Oh, the hypercharge coming in from on a Six, actually. Six just gets taken out. Seven's going in. Can Seven find the goal? Oh my god, he broke his ankles. That's crazy.
I did not think he had the angle for that, but a little bit of a misstep on the Crow. He kind of second guessed himself for which side he was going to defend, and that ended up costing them the game. I think it was going to be a tough game for them to win anyway there, but either way, Enosis is picking up right where they left off. They were playing very well in the last set. They're playing very well in this set. I really do like this Chester pick. One of the buffs, when I initially looked at the balance changes, I thought that it stood out to me as being a brawler who could definitely sneak into the meta. And so far, it seems like I've been proven a little bit right. I mean, Six is definitely doing a really good job playing that brawler.
For sure, and he's very low with 65 HP, not 67, which is unfortunate. And ball is going to be passed here, and they are playing a little bit of tiki-taka. It should have been passed back to the Dynamite buddy, but it was not in that situation.
Yeah, the defense going to hold strong, and Peter finally has a bear ready to go, but I just don't really see a person that the bear is going to be that useful into. Likely to throw it onto the max or the Chester. Here goes the bear, there goes the shield, but Six is in a powerful position here against Predicador. He's going to run him down, absolutely spamming the auto aim. He's got a heal coming in too. Starboy does have that extra defense. Okay, they're going to finally be able to clean him up and defend. That was a close one.
The fact that he got the heal right when he needed it was kind of crazy, so that was lucky. And now we see Las Planetas moving up a little bit. They have a lot more control here, and there is no goal that has been scored. Ball is going to be moved here by Six on a Seven, and that's going to go to an opportune position for them to move up later on. And it is a little bit of a stalemate in the mid here, Duncan.
Yeah, it is. The one thing I'm looking out for, though, is that Starboy has his Hex ready to go. There's the Nita Hyper Bear, too, so Los Planetas are throwing all of their cards down on the table right now. Peter is going to survive at 9 HP, and surely the Hex is going to be there. Oh, my goodness, he passed it back to himself, though, and now the ball is stuck.
No way!
I can't. A little bit of time, but it's not going to be enough time. That was almost a brutal mistake. Regardless, it's going to be enough for a goal.
I've never seen that happen, and that is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Hypercharge coming in. Oh my god, it is done. The Chester single man mission. He's able to equalize. Crazy stuff.
This has been quite the back and forth game here. Both teams getting goals within 10 seconds of each other right there. That Chester Hyper, it never went away. It's always been broken. It probably always will be broken. We see a lot of action here with the max hyper speed. Six is going to be going for the goal, but Starboy is barely there with the defense. He's left on his own, though, and Seven's going to clean him up. And that's going to be a quick, decisive victory for Enosis in our Brawl Ball set.
Wow, that was beautiful for Enosis. They were kind of crazy with it, especially Six, I have to say. Like, Peter barely got any value, but it didn't matter because Chester got all the value that he should. But considering the composition that Chester is going up against, I don't think that Chester should get that much of value, but it was crazy well play coming in from Enosis Esports, completely locking down Las Planetas and making sure that they had no real path for goal.
Yeah, Six did such a good job choosing his times to go in. You didn't see him doing a whole lot of aiming from max distance. He would wait for his chance to run up, and then he would run up and spam out 3 shots, and it usually ended up in him getting a kill and surviving on low low HP. So definitely a really good job knowing when to go in, when to pull back on the Chester right there. A brawler I'm excited to see a little bit more from since the balance changes. But overall, Enosis seem to have a pretty good pulse on this meta right now. They are definitely pulling out all of the best brawlers for the situation. And I've really liked what they've brought to the table with these drafts.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like Enosis Esports is in a very good spot to, punch their ticket in for the Brawl Cup itself, but it's still not over till the Fat Lady sings. So we're going to go into our second set here, which is, I believe, going to be on Bounty.
Yep, and that was a game mode that we just saw Enosis pull out a very decisive victory on just by knowing what they had to do as far as the first interaction with the spike, being able to play that cactus to secure the blue star, as well as knowing that the last interaction, having those bell traps up, was going to secure that for them. So I really like their strategy last time around in Bounty. Curious if we're going to get a different map this time that might be able to bring some different brawlers into the mix. Obviously, we have still yet to see the Bull Hypercharge, or the Bull Buffies, which is definitely something I really want to get a look at. I thought it felt pretty strong, but apparently these teams are thinking a little bit differently because he hasn't really been banned or picked at all, I don't think.
Yeah, I felt like Bull looked really strong in the Brawl Talk and in terms of all the buffies that he got, because you have invincibility, you have survivability, you have heal, you have a life steal. Like, in terms of everything that Bull needs to survive and keep on the onslaught, there are all of the things. But then I believe that Pika mentioned that there were certain things about Bull that need to be fixed. As a result, you can't really, snowball like you usually do with Bull. So that might be a consideration.
Yep, the removal of his supercharge gear definitely makes it a bit harder to cycle those supers on top of each other, but as we know, Brawl Stars is kind of phasing out some of those epic and mythic gears as we add some more buffies into the game, trying to both complicate and simplify the game at the same time. So I think it is a good strategy overall, but there is going to be a little bit of growing pains as far as people who used to really like the supercharge gear, people who used to really like the Crow mythic gear, the Leon mythic gear, for example. Those are going to be leaving the game, but I think that those mains will be okay because they're getting replaced by some incredibly fun, incredibly broken abilities. So you guys will be all right.
Yeah, for sure. But yes, we're gonna go into Bounty. We've seen a lot of Shooting Star today. We haven't seen Layer Cake or Hideout yet, so I would like to see those maps. So please, RNGesus, give me the maps that I want, not the maps that I don't want. I would love that.
Yep, and it looks like we'll get our answers soon.
No!
Oh, sorry about it, Panda. Shooting Star it is, buddy. Our bans are going to be BB ban on Shooting Star. Definitely just shows you how broken that brawler is and how broken they're valuing her. But BB, Angelo, Pearl, Charlie, Kaze, and Crow are all going to be banned out. Definitely some interesting bans for Shooting Star. The only really common Shooting Star brawlers that have been banned out are going to be the Kaze and the Angelo. So I'm liking what I'm seeing with these bans, and I'm liking that Leon first pick for Enosis.
Oh, for sure. Spike coming out for Last Light, and Shooting Star, not really the best map for Spike, but Spike is so oppressive that you could still make things happen. This Leon pick, though, is definitely going to be a very oppressive option. It is so good right now that a first pick doesn't necessarily counter it out. I still like the lollipop drop gadget. With the buffies, you get that 15% higher movement speed, which makes you so much more viable. And if you compound that with, say, a Polar, for example, like a Gray or maybe a Jean, it gives you a little bit more viability. I'm not saying that, those are the compositions that we're going to see, but if you're faster, then the likelihood of you getting those pulls is better. RT's coming out for Lost Quietus, and Enosis responding with the Pierce.
About time somebody took the Pierce, man. I was a little shocked he made it all the way to the fourth pick, but I do understand the RT. I feel like for any pressure that Enosis is going to be applying in the end game with like Leon Super, Leon Hyper can be a little bit countered out by RT having his Hypercharge ready to go. So I don't mind the RT pick. I do think it's a little foolish to leave Pierce for that long. I guess we'll see if I end up eating my words right there, but the Ziggy is going to be coming out as the final pick for Enosis. That is not what I was expecting to see. I do not think Ziggy's a particularly strong brawler. He did get a couple of buffs in the last set of balance changes. I believe his reload speed's a little bit better, and his attack delay is a little bit shorter now, so along with a little bit more HP. I think Ziggy's going to be a little bit better, but on Shooting Star, I just am not a huge fan of that brawler.
Fair enough. I mean, like, it's not Hideout and it's not Surge and Clash. So I feel like you have an idea there as to why it might not be as good. But you did mention that a lot of the pain points of Ziggy have been taken care of. Like the reload speed was, I think, by far one of the biggest issues that people had. Mm-hmm. And they have addressed that. So I think Ziggy becomes a little bit better. It's not as easy to hit the shots. Great coming out for Last Light Test. Love it because Obviously, the Ziggy's on the other side. You need something to pull Ziggy. You need something to get into Ziggy's face, take it out. And Gray is one of the best assassins that you can have, and it also has a lot of range. We're going to go into our second set between Enosis and Lost Flight Test. Enosis won set number 1, and it seems like it might be 6-7 domination in this group here.
I'm a little bit not convinced. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the Ziggy pick. I really like the Gray matchup into the Ziggy. The existence of that Lollipop drop gadget gonna basically give an indirect buff to all 3 members of Enosis Esports, though Peter looked like he went for the Lollipop drop and just undershot it by a little bit there too, so not the best use of a gadget. Regardless, the positioning is on the side of Los Playetes, but the blue star obviously in the hands of Enosis.
But this control is so important for Enosis Esports. But one of the biggest problems with Ziggy, like we mentioned, was the reload speed, and the reason why it's so annoying is the fact that you can't apply as much pressure. Oh, coming in, but super coming. Why was 7 walking forward? Why was he walking forward? That is crazy. And as a result, they get all those kills that they needed, and that is just the one.
Yeah, that's massive. Really good pull from Peter to catch 7 out lacking there. I do think it was kind of bad positioning from 7, but regardless, Peter taking advantage where he can. Lots of pressure being applied by Enosis right now, but 7 is just going to be in a really tough spot. He might not be able to escape, and indeed he's not. Kills going down on both sides, though, are going to end up in a positive elixir trade for the side of Enosis, and they're going to be winning this game by now 2 stars, including that blue.
Yeah, 6 was also very low. I feel like a gadget there would have probably taken him out. So I'm not sure which gadget he's using. Maybe I'm also... Wait, the gadget got reworked or something. I don't know. There's a pull coming in from Peter. He's not able to find 7 there, which is a little bit unfortunate for him. There is that super there, and Predicador is not exactly in the best position. No, he manages to get out there.
That was definitely a close call. He's going to take a teleport in an inopportune time, though. 6 is popping off with his Leon hypercharged super speed, too. And everything is looking like it's looking good for Enosis. That Pierce super is going to keep Predicador a little bit weaker. As he tries to push in his split form, not going to be able to get much out of there. There are 5 stars separating our 2 teams right now. It's going to still be 5 stars. The blue star is still sitting on Enosis. Lots of trades, lots of kills coming down, but at the end of the day, the pressure is not there for Los Playetes. That's going to be a victory for Enosis in game number 1.
Yeah, that was a very sketchy start for Enosis, because we had many times where 7 was over aggressing and got caught out. And frankly, those were not even, good plays coming in from their opponents. It was just bad timing, misposition, getting pulled because of those mispositions. So that was a little bit better played initially from the blue team, but at the end of the day, Enosis Esports were able to, lock down and have a much better second half than the first one. Let's see if they are able to replicate that success in going into the second game.
Yep, once again, the blue star is going to be freely picked up by Enosis thanks to that Leon speed from the Lollipop drop Buffy. Starboy is going to be throwing this cactus, trying to get some pressure on the left, and once again, 7 is just kind of on a mission by himself, and once again, it's going to be too far out. He's going to get caught out. That's going to be the lead going back to Los Playetes. I feel like 7 is getting himself in some really compromised positions on the Ziggy today.
Lots of shots coming in thick and fast, and Peter's getting pushed back. A super from 7. Can you find the kill? He's able to find the kill on a Peter. He's going to be very low, and he tries to find the kill of Predicador. 7 is able to find all the kills, but I think this man is on a quest mission? Because why were you staying alive? Why are you staying so high up?
I could not tell you, bro. I'm trying to figure out what 7's game plan is here, and I really can't wrap my head around it. But regardless, his teammates are picking up all the slack and just getting these kills in for him. I am very intrigued by his positioning throughout this set, but if it works, it works, and I won't hate on it too hard. We got a 9-star lead on the side of Enosis somehow.
Yeah, I mean, like 7 has not been performing, but 6 has definitely been performing. I guess 6 is greater than 7.
I suppose so. The 6 diff over 7 that game is gonna, I mean, they both played well together, I guess, but the positioning was a little bit hard to wrap my head around. Regardless, they're gonna be able to just take that win on the back of the other teammates. Still not sold on the Ziggy pick. I think it was a fine pick, honestly, but the Ziggy strategy was what was really catching me off guard there. Regardless, the rest of his teammates are able to get them a set victory right there. A little bit all over the place, but 2-0 for Enosis. They are definitely looking like the team to stop in this group.
Yeah, and like, I guess one of the biggest problems with running Ziggy is that if you lose control, it's so hard to win it back, because Ziggy isn't a brawler that does well into aggression of any sort of type, right? Because if you happen to miss a shot, it's like Piper against any other sniper. If you miss a shot, then you have to wait a long time for the reload to happen, and as a result, you get pushed back and you lose a lot of area and map control. So it's a risky pick to go for, but it did pay off in certain ways, because I feel like Ziggy being aggressive was wrong. but in a lot of ways, he provided so much of pressure with his supers that allowed his teammates to get those kills. So I guess like the distraction that he provided was probably more beneficial than not.
I'm really curious what the team comms were looking like during that game. Were they like, all right, Seven, go up there and just do what you do, man. Do what Ziggy does, and we'll pick up the rest, because that's how it looked like to me. But overall, whether or not it was the best strategy to send the Ziggy on a solo mission like that, teammates were in the right position to pick up the kills, to get the positive trades. Really fun set to watch overall. I can't wait what we got to see in set 3.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing this one because like Inosis is playing really well, and I'm honestly quite impressed with the level of gameplay that they brought. It's like their drafts are also pretty good. Their communication's pretty good. There are some iffy moments like we saw in the last set. Like they had no business winning that set only because of Seven, but like Six and his teammate just picked up all the slack. And the problem with this brain rot is that I don't even remember their teammate because of 6 and 7.
I'm right there with you, man. It's hard to keep those two numbers separated in my head here, but we've got set 3 pulled up, guys. We have Heist and Bridge Too Far for our map. The bans are going to be Brock, Eve, Bell, BB, Colt, and Angela. Once again, BB getting banned on a map that you just would have never seen a BB ban on in the past. Very clear that the pros are valuing this brawler very, very highly. Otis is going to be the first pick coming out from Los Flaetes. Typically, you do see a little bit more range or an aggressive brawler being picked here, but I do like the Otis to try to pre-counter out any aggro, especially since Chuck is wide open right now.
The Railway Man is definitely an option, but you have to draft very, very strategically in order to, make it work. And it can only mostly viably be used as a later pick. But when it's open, if you have it as an early pick, I feel like you're pigeonholing yourself into being countered. So you're going to see teams being a little bit more patient to figure it out. I don't expect Chuck to be taken, especially if you're Los Flaetes. Maybe if you're Inosis, you might go for it.
I feel like Los Flaetes could potentially go for it. I mean, Charlie does have to use a whole super, and it doesn't even like automatically kill you the way that an Otis super or a Cord super would. It just kind of stalls you a little bit. So I'm not surprised to see that. I do think it's a high risk, high reward pick right there. It's going to feed a lot of super for both Bo and Charlie, but at the end of the day, if you can count on your teammates to play good defense, it's going to be a lot of free, consistent damage, and they are not done there. They're going to double up with the aggros, Panda.
Yeah, so it's just like Otis trying to give one lane pressure and then Chuck going in for the damage, Ali doing double duty where she goes for damage if she needs to, she goes for kills if she needs to. I feel like Ali, especially around those walls with the water, is going to be able to get those kills, but the Melody is such a scary opponent, right? And you have to pick the Melody in this situation because you don't have something which can guarantee goal in the safe. And I feel like Melody is a really good option for Minosis to not to counter out, but to compete.
Yeah, I think it's a great pick. I feel like there's really nothing else there that could have got the job done that they needed to get done. I'm intrigued how this comp from Los Flaetes is going to work out because they have 2 brawlers who exist just to dive on the safe, and then they have 1 brawler who exists to play permanent defense. So Predicador is going to have his hands full with this Melody matchup right here, which is going to be manned by 7. Very excited to see that. And the beginning of this game is really just going to be down to how quickly can Starboy get his setup and how quickly can 7 start cycling supers.
7 gets his super. Now they're able to get the kill there, and that should be the safe popped almost immediately, unless they don't do it for some reason. Never mind.
Pretty clean pop right there. The bow mine's immediately going to be played on the safe.
Whoa.
More often than not, going to be best to just walk around those and leave them up for the entirety of the game. We do see that Starboy's got his Chuck setup complete now, so things are looking all right for Los Flaetes. This is the way that they saw their comp working out. Predicador surviving on very low HP is going to be clutch too, and that's going to be a really good kill between Peter and Starboy. This is a lot of pressure from Los Flaetes, and Enosis does not really have a way to prevent this.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I feel like he's not set up his post properly exactly to get the double hit. So that might be a little bit of an issue here. He goes in, gets 1 hit, and the super is gonna be able to keep people away. I feel like right now it's a little bit of a detente here. Peter Yan gets a kill onto Peter, the other Peter.
We got a lot of Peters, we got a 6, we got a 7, some pretty funny names out here today, guys. Another set of bow mines going to be thrown onto the safe as well, and 6 is going to be trying to crack this safe down to 50%. Not going to be able to, though. The Charlie Cocoon is there to prevent Los Flaetes from getting back onto the safe, but overall, still a very, very even game, but I do favor the comp that has the automatic chuck damage in a situation like this.
Beautiful stuff. Seven is going to be going in once more, getting a little bit more damage. But on the other side, you see Inosis's safe has already been popped for the last shield. So not a best start for them. Hypercharged Chuck coming in as well, gets Cocoon. And this is why Charlie isn't exactly the best pick. I feel like Charlie is overrated against the Chuck. I feel like Cordelius might be a better option because it takes you out of the zone. And, you know, there are lots of different things that you can do with Cordelius. Whereas with Charlie, you are better off holding lane against the longer range mid options who try to hold control. So I don't think that the composition was used the right way in this situation, or even optimally.
Yeah, Charlie's a versatile brawler, but she doesn't shut down the Chuck the way that Cordelius and Otis, even a Griff, I think could have potentially been a sleeper pick for that defense. But we're gonna have to see if they change up the strategy at all, because once Starboy got that set up, it was just too consistent of damage for Enosis to be able to defend. So far, so good for Enosis though. They've got full position. Their teammate is going to, Six is gonna hit that Cocoon right there too to allow a little bit of free pressure. Not gonna result in a whole lot though. Seven's gonna try to finally move in here, and that should be a safe crack for his teammates.
Yeah, this is the early start that Enosis need, because after Chuck is set up, then is this going to be damage coming in one after the other, and they can't really do much about it. So it has to be them completely committing on the safe as much as possible, with Ali on the other side trying to get the kill on Peter Yan, and Seven as well being predicted by Predicador.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to see Seven trying to get as much damage as he can. He's doing a good job forcing these safe cracks. Obviously, he knows he's going to die every time he goes in right there, but the lead is not that significant to the point where you can feel comfortable going against the Chuck. The Melody Hypercharge is going to get popped, and he's going to be able to deal with the Alligator too, so a little bit more damage coming in here, a lot more damage coming in. That should be the 25% crack, but not quite yet, unless the bow mines do it for them, which it doesn't seem to do so. We're in a pretty even game still.
Oh yeah, for sure. I like the Peter Ali pick. It is so good at addressing some of these side lanes, and you have seen a little bit of a change in how Enosis are playing this one around, and now they're going to go dive in. They have the last crack, which is important. Unfortunate for them they didn't get it earlier on, but the hypercharge is there. Can they get the damage in? And Peter is still alive. He has the mines, and I think that's going to be game for Enosis, and they have match point here.
Yeah, really close finish right there, but it seems like if Enosis is able to keep their lead in the beginning until like if they get that 50% crack first, they're going to be in a good spot basically, because you never want to be playing from behind when the other team has a Chuck. It's just going to be more or less impossible to come back. He's going to respawn and get that free damage out of the Chuck super. But if you're able to keep that full lead, then the Chuck is going to have to focus a little bit more on defense, and that's always going to be a good sign for you. So it's really all about the beginning of the game for Enosis here, Pen.
Oh, for sure. And the super coming in. Oh, no. Peter getting taken out by Peter. Unfortunate. Predicador getting muted out. No, he doesn't get muted. How would he get muted? He's a notice. Never mind.
Yep, and Six is going to be able to connect that Cocoon, allowing Seven to get some free safe damage. Not going to be quite as much as I'm sure he thought he would get there. Only 7% for a whole set of Melody dashes. Not super ideal. We see Peter versus Predicador on this right-hand side. Otis getting pretty far away from the defensive end, though. He's going to opt to cycle back and play a little bit more defense against Seven's Melody.
Yeah, the problem with Starboy whenever he goes up is that he feeds Melody's hypercharge, and that is like a pretty good win condition in a way for Enosis Esports, because the Chuck hasn't really set up early enough, in my opinion. Now we have the hypercharge also on Seven coming very, very soon, so we also have the first safe crack.
Yep, Peter's going to be able to get a lot more damage here. Bo is sneaky, a pretty good safe damage dealer when he gets up in this position, and he is definitely laying it on to the safe right now. Peter's going to have to try to defend against Peter. Six looks like he hit the Cocoon onto the Chuck. We've got a lot of Peters here today, man. But either way, the defense is holding pretty strong. So far, Enosis has a nice lead. This is exactly the position they need to be in against the Chuck.
We have a 1v1 between the Peters afterwards to figure out who Peter Prime is. Hypercharge from Peter Yan. He's going to go on the safe here, and that should be able to pop the safe, actually, on the other side. Oh my god, so close to popping it. They need that pop, and he manages to get the pop. That's huge.
Absolutely massive play right there. The fourth arrow from the Bow hypercharge coming in super clutch. Now Seven's got his hypercharge going into. He's going to bait out the Otis Starfish, and that might be all she wrote. Seven's going to be able to get that kill, and surely he's able to circle the safe. That's going to be Enosis winning 3-0 against Los Playetes. It was a little bit close, but at the end of the day, Enosis looked like the better team, and they're going to take this in a clean sweep.
Yeah, Enosis played this one really well. They identified that the Chuck was the issue. They lost the first one, obviously, but like they understood what they had to do to correct, and that was to isolate the Chuck and use Chuck as a means to get your hypercharges. And as a result, we get the victory for Inosis Esports against our opposition, Los Playetes.
Yep, we've had 3 games. Each team in this group has played each other once. So far, we have Los Playetes sitting at 0-2. We have Ice Frio Hilo sitting at 1-1, and we have Enosis sitting at 2-0. So things are looking fantastic if you're rooting for Enosis Esports right now. They should only need one more victory to secure their ticket out of Group C and into the playoffs for our Road to Brawl Cup South America West Finals on Saturday, guys. But overall, we've had some really close games, some really good games, some really fun moments in the casting booth up here. And I'm excited as we get into set number 4, which will be our rematch of Los Playetes and Ice Frio Hilo.
Yeah, in the previous match, we had Ice Frio Hilo taking it 3-0 against Los Playetes. So Los Playetes are functionally out. I don't think that they have a chance to come back in this tournament. So they're going to be more like kingmakers, right? So if they can afford to beat IFH, what is it? If they can afford to beat Los Playetes, they will be, ensuring that they have a chance against their opponents in Inosis Esports. But it really is contingent on that, and they need to get that dub.
Yep, what it comes down to, I think if Ice Frio Hilo loses this match against Los Playetes, then I think Enosis has the game secured. If Ice Frio Hilo wins this match, then it is all going to come down to our match number 5 of our rematch between Enosis and Ice Frio Hilo. So I think those are the stakes laid out for you guys. Like you said, Los Playetes not in a position to qualify, but they are in a position to be impactful still. So definitely got to make sure they continue to bring their A game as we move into set number 4 or match number 4.
Match number 4, yeah, exactly. And in match number 4, I believe the first set is going to be safe zone. It's not safe zone. When I say safe zone, heist. I keep saying safe zone for some reason. Anyway, it's going to be a heist, and we do have safe zone. That is one of the maps, along with Hot Potato and Bridge Too Far. So we just saw Bridge Too Far. So hopefully we get maybe Hot Potato, because we haven't seen Hot Potato at all today. We've only seen safe zone and Bridge Too Far. I would like to see Hot Potato.
I would like to see that
guys,
too.
Give me Hot Potato.
It's an amazing bull map too, and I am definitely itching to see the bull buffies in action. We've got to see all 5 of the other buffies. Can I just get a singular bull game, please? Like, just force them in the draft, guys. It's not that deep. It is that deep, but I really do want to see the bull, and I think that would be a fantastic map to bring him out on. Obviously, BB's going to be really broken on Hot Potato too. Can't really imagine a world where she makes it through the bans, but regardless, it would be fun to see some BB gameplay. But guys, I think that she's probably the best brawler, so I wouldn't hold your breath on that one.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I did see BB open for like one of the sets, and neither team decided to pick it, so that was an interesting choice. But the thing is also, like, BB is strong, but if you're not confident with your BB, you're still going to be like really, really bad. I mean, like, you have to be so aggressive, and you have to play BB in a way that you've never played before. Like, it goes against your instincts as a person who's played BB before. So I mean, I don't think that you should get used to this BB by any means.
You can definitely afford to play a lot more aggressively than you used to be able to because of the vitamin booster, I believe is the name. The vitamin booster gadget Buffy is incredibly broken, and you get extra value out of it if you're able to hit your first attack. So a lot of the time that means you pretty much pop your gadget and run in a straight line spamming your auto aim. So I think that is kind of the way that the BB is going to be played in future metas. Regardless, I do still expect her to be banned out a lot of the time. The other gadget that kind of reminds me of the vitamin booster is the bull. I don't remember what the exact name of the gadget. I think it's like T-Bone Injector. I think was the old name. I think they changed the names a little bit. But regardless, that bull gadget is also really really good for like aggressive plays. You can kind of just shoot it out, dash on that guy, heal off that guy. It's definitely a pretty broken gadget, and I think it could be very useful.
It's called T-Bone Missile now.
Interesting.
So you hit that projectile, and that's when you are able to mark them and get those heals in. But like, I still don't think it's wrong to call it T-Bone Injector. You still inject it into the thing, right? Even if it's a missile. Whatever.
Something like that.
They decided to change the name, but I think that it definitely is possible to run it. Obviously, you said, and you mentioned, and a lot of people did mention that the supercharge rate is a little bit of an issue. So I feel like that might be a little bit of a balancing idea, maybe from Adrian and the team in the balancing department, of make both not as oppressive, but then I feel like they forgot the memo on BB, so like that's
Yeah.
something that we have to do.
Hey, you're not gonna hear me crying out for any buffs to any of these buffied brawlers. I think that they will absolutely all be S tier, at the very least A tier, especially from what we've seen here. Because even some of the brawlers who I thought the buffies wouldn't be quite as good, like Nita, they're still getting like spam picked on pretty much every map, every situation. So similarly to the last pack of 6 buffies, the meta is going to kind of revolve around those, kind of just something you got to live with and learn with. But we finally got our match between Los Flaetes and Ice Frio Hilo starting here. The map is going to be Dueling Beetles. Our global bans Poco, Mina, Mortis, Ems, and our map specific bans are going to be BB, Spike, 8-Bit, Colonel Ruffs, Nita, and Gray.
The Bull first pick is a really nice one here. Can't go wrong with it. We've seen how good it is, and in a map such as this one, there are specific sites where you have to walk through. The Bull is that much more oppressive. Finks is going to be great, and along with Leon, can't really go wrong with Leon. Wow, tongue twister. But the Finks gives you so much of area denial in the mid, so I really like this one. With the anti-heal from Crow coming out, I like that, but I don't know if I feel like the Stu pick I'm seeing a lot more often, but I don't think it's there.
Certainly a popular pick in this region. I like the versatility he has to offer with mobility and wall break, but at the end of the day, the damage isn't really there to be able to do too much by yourself. I like the Crow, though, for the poison to try to counter out the invisibility of the Leon. The structure of Dueling Beetles definitely favors that lollipop drop gadget from Leon to get a lot of value, and they're going to add the Ziggy into the mix too, so more likely than not, we'll see that Leon gadget in the middle, with the Finks and the Ziggy kind of able to take advantage of that speed and invisibility. So I like the synergy from Los Flaetes, but the Crow poison invisibility is definitely going to be something to keep your eyes out for.
Oh, yeah. The Ziggy pick is a very interesting one. You get a lot of area denial. When you use that gadget, you can put down a lot more projectiles. But the thing which doesn't make sense to me is that you pick the Ziggy into a Stew and a Bull, which could already break open the map. I don't think that is the best idea, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see how quickly Bo is able to get those mines down to break open the map. Stew is probably going to be the primary form of wall break, but we'll see how it goes. Starboy is going to throw down that lollipop drop in the middle for his teammates to take advantage of, but it's going to be a mid matchup between Diego and Peter right here, where Diego has a little bit of a range advantage, but he doesn't have the vision on his opponent, which is going to be frustrating.
Oh, 100%. And there is that wall break from Bradbury to ensure that, they have a little bit easier line of sight in terms of getting those shots up. Starboy still using the lollipop drop like the OG way. That is pretty interesting to see, as the mines have been dispatched by Los Flaetes. They have complete control as well, and the kill on Diego is going to be supremely massive. I think Barry's also going to be going down, so not the best start from Ice Frio Halo.
Nope, not at all. This positioning is looking fantastic for Los Flaetes. It's going to be really tough to get Predicador out of there too, considering he is on a thrower behind those unbreakable walls. The invisibility is going to fall down, but still that Fink Super is going to provide a lot of value. Really good jump from Saba to clear out Predicador on the Ziggy, and this is the first chance in a very long time that Ice Frio Hilo has to stack up some zone percentage.
Indeed, and just look at the size of that boat totem. Kind of crazy now. Predicador putting down his super there to push people back, but it hasn't really managed to do that so far. And we have the gadgets from Peter, but a lot of the anti-heal has ensured that, Los Flaetes stay off the point for longer than they would have liked.
Yep, this is going to be a huge moment right here, because Ice Frio Hilo need to win this push to be able to win this game. The time is ticking, and it is getting it's getting progressively harder for Ice Frio Hilo to justify this comeback. It looks like that's probably going to be the last straw right there. Los Flaetes with a really interesting comp, pairing up the Leon Lollipop Drop with the Ziggy. I like the strategy. It seems to be working out very well so far. Just being invisible just makes it so much harder for your opponents to hit you, believe it or not, guys.
Wow, that's crazy. But I like the Ziggy pick. That's the hypercharge was basically what won them the game. It pushed both Bull and the other brawler, I think Crow, into the right side of the map. They got taken out by that, or they were sufficiently low where they were picked off by their teammates and lost by it. So beautiful stuff in game number 1. We're gonna go to game number 2, and Ice Frio Hilo have their work cut out for them here.
Absolutely. The Stu pick hasn't seemed to get the most amount of value so far. Diego is going to get some mines very quickly thanks to that supercharged totem, though. That's going to be a couple of important wall breaks, a couple of important seconds wasted trying to disarm them. Predicador is using that Ziggy gadget that auto fires to the nearest target, so Saba's not really able to push up through that. Definitely going to be frustrating for him, but Diego's going to have a little bit of a gap to stand on the zone for a second. Both teams are staying pretty cautious so far.
Yeah, Starboy and like Brad Perry are having a mano a mano while everybody else is like, you know, hiding in the grasses trying to heal up. That's pretty funny. Starboy in a very aggressive position, and he might get taken out here, but I think he wants a super, and he's going to go for that super. Sneak up on a Diego, should find the kill there, but no, Diego places down his mines instead, and I'm very confused by Starboy's decision making in that situation.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a misfire, I think. He should have been able to kill Diego, but he's not going to end up being able to do so. He might have just wasted an Invisa heal there too, so could be a little bit of a waste of utility. It looks like Ice Free Hilo's got their best start by a pretty wide margin. Diego's already got hypercharged too. He's going to throw those mines directly onto poor Peter, and there's really nothing you can do about that in that situation. He already cycled another set of mines, and those are going to go right on Predicador. Diego has no mercy with these supers, Panda.
I think dude's near his next hypercharge already because of all the value that he already got there. That's kind of crazy. And so much of control from Ice Free Halo. They have 50% advantage. Big super coming in from the Crow. Predicador that's a kill on the other side. Brad Barry is able to pick off the Leon. And just like that, we have a complete role reversal of what we saw in game number 1.
Yeah, and I really think a lot of it was because Diego was able to get his first set of mines and his first hypercharge so incredibly quickly. Really toxic brawler to try to push into once you lose a little bit of control to a bow. So overall, really good adjustments from Ice Frio Hilo. It seems like once they get set up in that mid, it's going to be tough to get them out of there, but it really all comes down to whoever takes control of that zone first, in my opinion.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it was really well played, but I mean, I gotta say, it really... I can't think. My words not working.
Oh, good. Sit on that thought. We'll come back to it later. As we get into game number 3 for Dueling Beetles, once again, we have that Leon Totem in the middle, providing a bit of invisibility, but it does fall pretty quickly this time. Peter's going to be trying to stack up a little bit of zone control. Both teams playing slightly more aggressive this time around, trying to stack up some of that zone early. Diego's got that totem down for that free supercharge, but no mines to be seen yet. So Starboy's popping that invis for the mid.
Finally gets found out with the poison. Lollipop dropped in a very aggressive position. Not able to get the full value there that they want, but there is that super coming in from Predicador, and he gets poisoned up a little bit. Soba has a super, but is being pinched out very aggressively by Starboy. But there's that kill. Starboy finds that super, finds the kill on Predicador, and he's kind of insane with it right now.
Yeah, that was a really solid jump right there. Unfortunately, the Stew is going to fall, which is going to be pretty massive for Ice Frio Hilo. The bow mines are active to break up the mid right there, but the Starboy is falling quite weak right now, getting hit by most of Diego's arrows. The zone control is still in favor of Los Playetes, but not by quite as much as I'm sure they would like to, especially if Brad Barr is able to secure the kill on Starboy, which he indeed is.
Ooh. Oh no, Peter, he dies in that last second despite using that super. I don't think that's really the best situation. He should have just let them all die and then use the super and disengage, which would have won them the control. But I feel like Los Playetes won the control of the mid. They were just given it, which is crazy.
Yeah, definitely. There's still one more bow mine there that Starboy might fall victim to. He's going to have to pop the hyperspeed to get out, but he still dies anyway. Really unfortunate waste of his value, and Diego's here with another hypercharge to both block over that middle lane and just get a little bit of extra damage. The lead is very slightly ticking in Ice Frio Hilo's favor now, and Brad Barry's got hyper, Saba's got hyper, and they are going to pile them both on to try to get this last 10% man.
Yeah, Starboy basically knows over. Peter forgot the mines, and that is going to be set number 1 for Ice Frio Hilo. Los Playetes took it lying down, especially once you got the purple button from both Soba and Brad Barry.
Yeah, they got off to a really good start being able to take game number 1, but it seems like once Ice Frio Hilo got the wall breaks that they wanted, got the positioning that they wanted, it was just really hard to take it back from a bow right there. So overall, I like the fight that we saw from Los Playetes, who have struggled today, but they just weren't able to get that final victory right there. So it's got to be a little bit of a kick in the gut right there. Los Playetes thought they probably had that set in the bag, but Ice Frio Hilo is going to rip it out from them.
Yeah, that was a little bit testy, and I feel like Ice Frio Halo must have had their hearts in their throat because that wasn't the best situation to be in, and they were able to claw that victory back. So good on them for that, and that keeps their hopes alive because It's not just about winning. You have to win it in such a convincing manner because you want to get as many points as possible, and especially with the fact that they lost their previous match against Inosis Esports in a 3-1 scoreline. So every single match win is important, but it's more important to not have a set loss.
Yep, these sets are going to be super important, especially if Los Playetes is able to bring this one back. So definitely keep your eyes open for that, guys. We'll be moving into set number 2 soon, but Los Playetes, they've shown that they can compete with these teams. They haven't been able to get that last boost over the finish line. They haven't been able to get that last thing to be able to win these sets that they are very tightly competing in. So I'm hoping for their sake that they'll be able to finish pulling together the final touches and hopefully be able to take a set over one of these teams. But Ice Frio Hilo, they got to continue to stay locked in. A 3-0 for them would be huge here.
Mm-hmm. We're going to go into the next set here. The first one did conclude with the winning of Ice Fire Halo. That was such a weird sentence. I don't even know what happened in my mind there, so I apologize. But I'm looking forward to seeing how the second set plays out here. It is on Knockout. We have Gold Arm Gulch, Bells Rock, and out in the open. So I want to see what map we get. It is... Wait, what?
My favorite knockout map. We've got Death Cap Trap Gem Grab, guys. So sorry about that, but we've got our bands coming in. Shade, Stu, Shelly, Rico, Bo, and BB. Colonel Ruffs is going to be the first pick. I feel like we've seen Ruffs first on this map so many times throughout our group stage today, Panda. I think over the past couple days, we've seen Ruffs first. Over today, we've seen Ruffs first. And the main reason being, you need to break your own walls to be able to get into the mid, and that is realistically what Ruffs is going to be there for, as we see another Leon pick coming out from Ice Frio Hilo.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful Leon pick here. We're going to have Carl coming out. So we got a little bit of diversity the first time we've seen Carl today. Mm-hmm. And I like this Carl pick because you have the pickaxe, which can easily be able to find out where people are on lane. And it's a pretty good pick here. We have the Mo coming out. I think Mo is great into some of the tankier options that you're going to probably see as a last pick here for Ice Frio Halo. With the compositions that we've seen from Ice Frio, I don't know exactly which one would be the mid here. Yeah. But from Los Playetes as well, we have Ruffs, which could be the mid, but most often than not would be the lane. And we have RT coming out, so I think that is going to be the mid here.
I've got questions for both of these teams regarding who is going to take which lane, who's going to take mid. I do think it will probably be the RT, but it certainly could be the Ruffs as well. Clearly want to keep the gems off the Mo to allow him to be optimally aggressive, but I do think that Ice Frio Hilo probably needs a mid brawler here that can hang with RT at range. What brawler will that be? I have no idea. I feel like Byron could be a decent shout, but that's really the only thing coming to my mind so far. Pierce is indeed open, so we could see him get picked up too, but with the lack of wall break that Ice Frio Hilo has, I don't think it would be the best time to bring out the Pierce.
Mm-hmm. We're going to have RT here and the Penny into that composition. That's probably just for the rough sandbags. I feel like this composition is, pulling apart in the seams. I don't understand the Ice Frio composition.
I don't maybe mind the Penny. I feel like the lack of wall break, just the only wall breaker in this entire game is the Ruff. So if they're able to keep the walls up, the Penny turret could certainly get a ton of value. It also is a decent enough mid brawler with the barrel to be able to protect you from the RT at range. So I'm not a hater of the Penny pick. I honestly kind of don't like the Carl pick, if anything. But overall, I do agree. Very weird draft, and we're going to have to see if it's able to pull out yet another victory over Los Playetes as we get into our Death Cap Trap set, Pan.
Mm-hmm. Gadget coming out on the right-hand side, and it's a pretty even start in the mid, though Ice Fire Hilo being pushed back a little bit more than you'd expect.
Yep, Starboy is going to take a pretty significant control over that bush. He's going to have to be backing up, though, as Diego does continue to push up. He's got the invisibility up for Bradbury, who does already have a Penny turret online. That is a massive super to get this early in the game. Predicador is going to get himself caught out there, too. It does appear Peter is going to be the gem collector, but he's going to be falling down to 2 HP. Very lucky to be able to survive that. Everything looks pretty good for Ice Frio Hilo. They got pole position and a turret.
Oh, yeah, and now Diego is going to go into Peter. Peter knew that he was there, but it didn't matter at the end of the day. Diego didn't pick up any of the gems there. I would have picked up at least the one, but he wants to ensure that he doesn't get caught out by Starboy, which might be the better decision.
Yep, Mo is going to be trying to take some positioning, but Diego is once again there to clean it up. He's got a hypercharge ready to go, too.
Oh, nice bait.
And he's going to go for these gems here. I don't know why Los Playetes are leaving those open for the taking, knowing for a fact there's an invisible brawler out there somewhere. Predicador is trying to get this reset, but even if he does, he's gonna have a really hard time getting away with any gems.
Oh,
Starboy's going for the final reset. He might be able to get
no.
it, but not gonna happen. That's gonna be a pretty decisive victory for Ice Frio Hilo. I like the way that they're drafting here. I feel like they've got a good strategy as long as Ruffs doesn't break walls.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like, that the Mo would have been able to get the reset, but then they, I guess, second guessed themselves and they moved away, which was I'm not 100% sure, but they would have had a chance to get a reset in that situation. Let's see if the second game plays out better. But I gotta say, Diego played so much better than his opposition.
Yeah, he's looking really good on this Leon pick all day,
Oh,
realistically, and he's already going to be able to pick off a kill right there. Saba and Diego working on getting Predicador down next, who has been playing lane as an RT, which I don't hate the idea, especially if he's able to get set up like that, but I mean, he's going to fall once again. It just seems like the RT pick is not providing a whole lot of value, especially now that we've got another penny turret, another invisibility gadget. Just all this utility is looking so good for Ice Frio Hilo.
Yeah, indeed. Even Soba is doing a pretty good job of ensuring that Predicador is not exactly the healthiest person there. Predicador might actually go down if he's not careful, and pushes back Soba a little bit. They're playing a little bit of chicken over there on the right hand side, and finally Predicador getting the better of him.
Absolutely they are. Diego is waiting for a chance, it looks, to go in with his Leon super here. He's trying to figure out who he can get the jump on. He does pop that invisibility. Not really the cleanest play of all time. And now Starboy's going to have a little bit of room to potentially get a reset over here. I mean, Diego's going to try to clean that up. He's going to get jumped, though. And that is going to be an unfortunate break for Starboy. Thought he might be able to win that 1v1 interaction. But with him losing, that's going to be Ice Frio Hilo winning another set.
Big stuff coming in from Ice Frio Hilo. They are going to go up 2-0 in terms of set score. So this is very, very important for them to win this one in a very dominant fashion. 3-0 would allow them to contend against Inosis Esports. And, if they win against Inosis Esports, then it might be a more even playing field as a result of that.
Yep, that can be an absolutely huge match for match number 5, but we do still have at least one more set for our match number 4 here. Ice Frio Hilo has definitely had Los Flayates' number all day. In the 5 sets that they've matched up against each other, we have had Ice Frio Hilo winning every single one, even though, as we've said, some of them have been really close, some of them have been really exciting. It's just, at the end of the day, Ice Frio Hilo knows what to do to get the dub over these teams.
Indeed. I want to see what things happen in the next set, and I believe that the next set is going to be Brawl Ball?
Sounds about right. I would be excited to see some Brawl Ball. I mean, I feel like the most fun set we've had here today was that last Brawl Ball set with all of the goal rushes back to back, a little bit of mayhem, a little bit of craziness going on there. So Brawl Ball should be a pretty fun game mode. Once again, please let me get one bowl game. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys. But realistically, I think that it's going to be just another one of those game modes where all these buffies continue to shine, which we've seen so many times in and out today.
Yeah, but I'm still very confused about the set order because, I feel like it should be. I mean, it should be Hot Zone, right? Because it was supposed to be Heist and then Knockout and then Hot Zone. So I'm a little confused about which map we're going to be going into.
Hey, we'll see what we get. I'm sure that Ice Frio Hilo are ready to lock in no matter what, because they are one set away from taking a victory over Los Flayates. And like we've said, they need this win to be able to have a chance to defeat Enosis. They need to be able to beat Enosis in match number 5. And then they need, I believe, do they need Enosis to lose to Los Flayates? I guess it would go down to sets then, assuming Enosis beats Los Flayates. So definitely a pretty tight game. I believe that Enosis won 3-2 in the first match against Ice Frio Hilo too. So
no, it was 3-0.
Was it 3-0 for Enosis over Ice Frio?
Oh, Enosis over Ice Frio? It was 3-1.
Yeah, that was 3-2. It was 3-2. So that was
3-2? Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that was as close as it gets. So the set matchup, the set advantage is not going to be too significant for Enosis. This is definitely anybody's game still. And by anybody, I of course mean Enosis or Ice Frio Hilo. I'm sorry, Los Flayates.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're right. They did win 3-2 against Ice Frio Hilo, and if they do manage to win, if they do manage to lose against Ice Frio Hilo in a worse scoreline, then obviously Ice Frio Hilo will move on. But that is on the supposition that they win this one here in this next set. So we have to see what happens.
Yep. I'm super excited to get into the draft any moment now, surely. Excited to see what game mode it is. I do hope you're right about the Brawl Ball. I think that would probably be the most fun game mode for us to get our set number 3 hands on right here. But overall, I feel like the drafts have just been really good. What do you think about the Leon so far, Panda? I want to ask you your opinion on him because we've seen him get spammed out today, and it seems like more often than not, he's been on the winning side of things.
I think that the Leon works pretty decently, but like if you compound it with like a Ruffs, for example, it gets really, really good because you get the hyper treat and then it gets a lot better. And now we finally see the Leon being banned out, so that makes sense. We're gonna go into Super Beach, and it is Brawl Ball, so I called it right somehow. I don't know how. But Willow is gonna be the first pick, followed by Bull as the first pick for Ice Frio Hielo.
Yep, I do. I feel like we've seen this Willow first pick coming out in every Brawl Ball situation so far, which is very interesting to me. You don't typically see throwers, but like I said, if it's going to be a thrower first, it's probably more likely than not going to be a Willow. We have Shade, Cordelius, Max, Nita, BB, and Leon banned out too, so a lot of the aggressive brawlers are going to be out of the picture here, and we're going to see Ice Frio Hilo taking a thrower of their own with the Larry and the Lori to pair up with the bow.
Larry and Lori coming out, so that is a pretty nice pick on this map, honestly. It also makes sure that the Willow isn't as oppressive, so that's an interesting decision. The next 2 picks for Let's Fly At This are going to be very important because they have to deal with the bow and the possible 3rd pick, which might be very aggressive. Shade is also taken out from the situation.
Yeah, I do like the Shade ban a lot. I feel like that's a brawler we've seen have a huge impact on this map specifically, and Brawl Ball specifically. He's just such a menace, and it's really hard to stop that aggression once he gets going. I like the comp that we're seeing from Ice Frio Hilo. I think that Larry has a pretty favorable matchup into Willow. Obviously a little bit less of a goal scoring condition considering Willow does have that mind control, but Larry and Lori can hold down a lot of positioning, especially into a matchup like a Shelly, which I don't really understand from Los Flyatis. There's not a single tank on the board for Ice Frio, and they're taking a tank counter.
Kenji coming out for Los Flyatis, and there's going to be a Stu on the other side. So I've been underrating the Stu, maybe. I feel like a lot of teams feel like Stu is a little bit better, so that could be a reason why it's being picked up. But what do you think about this too, though?
I think it's good into the Kenji and the Shelly. I think that you'll be able to feed a lot of super, a lot of hyper off of them while being able to keep your distance with the dashes and just cycling those dashes over and over again. I like it in this situation more than I've liked it in some of the past situations, but we'll have to see if it works out for them because we are into set number 3 on Super Beach. Bowmine's already down, causing mayhem. Peter is going to end up dropping to those, and now we have Saba taking pretty much full positioning on the right, but Predicador is going to be able to stall a little bit longer.
Yeah, mine's coming out on the left-hand side. Starboy has to be careful about that. Now Bradbury going to go in, gets a little bit of those shots off, keeping Starboy quite low. In fact, almost got the kill on his Starboy. Now Predicador can push on the left-hand side, but obviously the mark that he wants to go is the right-hand side, and he can't afford to feed willy-nilly, and he's trying to dodge, but like every little situation, it's a catch-22 if you really think about it.
Yeah, and I'm starting to see the strategy that Ice Frio Hilo has too, because Diego is using all of his mines on the left side while leaving Saba's walls completely untouched on the right side. I really like that strategy, knowing what both of his teammates need to thrive. He's also got a full set of hyper mines inside of the goal now, and this is going to be really tough to defend if it's even possible at all, but Starboy, just with the existence of his super, is going to be able to stall them longer, and the Willow mind control is going to be there too.
Oh my God.
Predicador find the angle. He didn't even need the angle. He just had the HP. Really well played by Predicador.
That was the slowest fast break I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, Super's coming in. There is that goal. Big super, but misses by Kenji, so that is a little unfortunate. Now, Peter could have actually passed the ball up, but decided not to do it in that situation. Predicador gets taken out. Wow, that's crazy. Wow, what a goal coming in from the Shelly there, and Let's Fly At This. As a result, take game number 1 against their opponents.
Shelly might not have a single good matchup, but what she does have is a super that is a free goal if you get it in the right position. So not really my favorite pick, but when it works, it works. When you can get a goal, you can get a goal. I feel like both of those goals came very quickly, kind of at the drop of a pin right there. So really surprised to see that game end that quickly. We're gonna have to see if Ice Frio Hilo has a good strategy to maybe drag this one out a little bit longer.
Oh, unfortunate. And now Starboy, a little bit low on the HP department. Peter is going to be taken out when he comes out. He's a sitting duck over there, right? Open in the middle, and he uses the gadget there. And that's unfortunate. Starboy getting pressured by Bradbury because of the wall break. The balls are going to be... Oh, he's going to be moved up by Predicador. He's trying to clear it, but not going to be able to do so. Ball's going to be passed to Diego. Diego could have super kicked it in. Why did he super kick it in? It's possible. It's possible.
No, no way. The flubs. We're back to Flub City.
Oh, we surely are missing that. In the road to Brawl Cup, that's a tough miss, man. You gotta wonder if the nerves are starting to stack up a little bit there. The Predicador super is going to connect, but not enough healing from that to be able to survive. Bradbar is swinging the rock forward, trying to get it in a good position for Diego to potentially get a goal here. I mean, the defense is just looking like it's going to be able to hold strong. Once again, Flyatis is somehow hanging on by a thread here.
That's crazy. Predicador on the left-hand side. Oh, he's trying to dodge. Is he going to be able to do so? Not able to do so, but holds off and creates enough space for his team. But now we have the hypercharged Stu. Stu's going around, ring around the Rosie with Peter. Gets a kill, and despite Peter using the gadget to get out of that situation out there. Now Predicador gets the ball. He goes for the super on a Bradbury. Misses every single thing.
Yeah, really good dodge by Bradbury to get out of the Kenji X right there. Still, the positioning is looking good for Ice Frio Hilo. I don't know if there's been a moment in this game where we couldn't say that even as they were getting scored on. Starboy does get hit by the stun. Even with the pop of the Band-Aid, he surely is going to fall. Peter's been doing a really good job holding it down when his teammates die, and they're just kind of cycling these respawns and holding on for dear life.
The Predicador going for the Larry finds a kill as well. Now, Diego on the left-hand side going up against Starboy, but managing to hold the line there. Bradbury. Predicador, what is with your predicaments?
The bow hyper is going to get popped just for the damage. It's not really going to do all that much here. We have no supers on the side of Ice Frio Hilo and only 20 seconds until the walls are going to go down for overtime, which I feel like is going to affect both teams pretty similarly. I don't think there's one comp I prefer too much, but Bradbury's popping off with that hyper. The Larry hyper is down too. The Shelly super is going to be able to dismantle a lot of that, but still, Ice Frio with the walls going down in 5 seconds have good positioning. The ball is cornered though.
The fact that Predicador missed that slash on both of those is crazy, and as a result, he goes down. Now Starboy has to hold the line, but it's not gonna be easy, especially since both of the twins are down. But the ball has been passed to Peter. Peter gets taken down. The super kick, and he manages to pick the wrong decision. So, predictions. You gotta change your name, Predicador. It's not going good for you, buddy.
Definitely a tough situation to be stuck in right there. It's kind of like a goalkeeper on a penalty kick. You got to choose left or right, and usually more often than not, you're going to end up regretting your decision either way. So good try. I mean, Los Flyetes held it down on defense for a vast majority of these past 2 games. They have been on the back foot the entire time, though, so maybe not the best comp, but they're doing well enough to stay in this game, Pan.
Oh, 100%. Wall is controlled by Starboy, and he's going to hold on to this. And the thing is, the Bradbury is not going to be an easy mark for Starboy to take down, but in that situation, he did manage to do that. But, you know, it's not going to be something that you see often. Yeah,
and right now we're seeing, for low-key the first time, Ice Frio Hilo being on the back foot. It's definitely been a while since Los Flyetes have been able to hold this type of offensive pressure, and it seems like it's not going to be for much longer with Peter dropping right there. Bradbury does have his dash ready to go. They've got bow mines here. Starboy might not know about him. Surely he does now, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's going to try to, you know, dismantle them. But the problem is that it opens up the map so much more and makes it much more difficult for Starboy to really compete against Bari Bari. The kill has been confirmed on Peter now. Predicador, the last one alive, he goes for another super and another miss.
Yeah, it's a tough miss right there. That one I'm gonna blame Predicador for. I feel like he should have been able to get a connection, but Peter's gonna be forced to dive in his own spawn. Saba does have his hypercharged super if he needs it. He does not choose to pop it quite yet. Somehow Peter's staying alive at 160 HP. Surely there's gonna be enough, and it is gonna be enough for Ice Frio Hilo to secure the first goal of the game with 1 minute left.
Yeah, and Ice Frio Hilo on match point here. Hypercharge being popped by Diego, and he's going to go ham on a Predicador, but Predicador gets taken out. Hypercharge as well on everybody on Ice Frio Hilo. They have the goal, they have the kills, they have the ball being passed down. Starboy clears the ball with 53 seconds on the clock, and Predicador, please, hit one, buddy.
This game is getting dragged out right here. I don't really see a way Flyetes defend this unless we're just trolling with super shots, I suppose. All right, either way, this defense is not looking clean. Predicador is the lone man standing. He might be able to stall a little bit longer. He's going to try his very hardest, but surely with a super pass, we're finally gonna, oh my goodness. Why do we keep rushing this Bradbury? What are we cooking, brother?
I have no clue why this is happening. Stop being so hungry for it. Just be patient, please. You can do this. Walk it in. Walk it in. No. Oh my God. The heck's at the right time. This is just pure cinema. Oh my God.
God, these guys do not want this set to end. The super pass is there. Can Starboy maybe get a super in time to break open this map? It seems like not yet, but the goal could still happen.
No.
Unfortunately for Predicador, he is going to fall. That was very close to being tied up and sent into OT, but at the end of the day, Ice Frio Hilo are going to once again sweep those
1-7?
That was a fun set, I can't lie.
Oh my God. Peter and Predicador got 6-7 in terms of deaths. Like 6-7.
I'm sure Enosis would have liked to see that, but that's going to be our victory going to Ice Frio Hilo, guys. Very well-deserved victory over Los Flaetes for the second time today. They are going to be 2 wins and 1 loss throughout their 3 match games here, and they're really going to have their work cut out for them in match number 5, because we have got Ice Frio Hilo versus Enosis Esports. If Enosis wins, they secure the spot. If Ice Frio Hilo wins, then it's going to come down to the set score, guys. So lots to play for here. It should be a banger.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We saw how contested the first fixture between these two teams are. But before we get into that, we're going to take a short break of about 2 to 3 minutes. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another amazing day of some Brawl esports action. It is match day number 3. We have finished 4 of the 6 matches that we're going to have today. First one was Ice Frio Halo versus Los Flaetes. I believe they won 3-0. Then we had Enosis Esports versus Ice Frio Halo, where Enosis won 3-2. Then we had, I believe, what did we have?
Then we had Los Flaetes losing 0-3 to Enosis Esports. And then match number 4, we had Los Flaetes losing 0-3 to Ice Frio Hilo. So far throughout our games, we have Ice Frio Hilo sitting at 2-1, We have Enosis sitting at 2-0, and sadly for Los Flayetes, they are sitting at 0-3. So their chances are over, but it still could be Enosis. It still could be Ice Frio Hilo. And this match number 5 is going to be the main determinator of which team is going to make it out of Group C. So I'm really excited to see what we've got going on here. Obviously, Enosis won 3-2, but it could have been anybody's game. It was a pretty electric match both ways.
Oh yeah, for sure. I like the way like both the teams, all three teams have been playing really well considering everything. Like if you're taking the skill expression and the draft and all their different abilities, I feel like Los Laites is a little bit out of their depth, but Ice Frio Hill and Enosis Esports are a little bit more at the parity, with Enosis being a little bit higher. That's what my reading is at right now. But the thing is, it's close enough that it can go either way for these teams here. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one goes. Though Enosis is a lot cleaner as a team, and in terms of their draft as well, we've seen them pick more strategically than some of the other teams here today.
Yeah, I would argue that we've seen less mistakes from Enosis. So I think I agree with your analysis there. Obviously, if Enosis manages to lose this set, then we'll probably be singing a different tune when it comes to our match 6 analysis. But so far, I've really liked what I've seen from both of these teams. I do expect this to be a pretty tightly contested match, but the ball is in Enosis's court. All they have to do to qualify to the Final Four is get this victory over Ice Frio Hilo. So they know that they're going to be dialed in, and we should have some banger matches.
Yeah, and our first set, I believe, is Shooting Star. Then we go into Hot Potato, which is going to be Heist. Then we have Bell's Rock, which is Shooting Star. And then, if it is required, we have a Ring of Fire, Hot Zone. And finally, we finish it off with Double Swoosh. Again, only if it's required. So we're going to have some 5 interesting maps. I think this is the first time we're going to see a Hot Potato today, which is nice. And also, Ring of Fire. I like to see Ring of Fire more. I'm not happy with Shooting Star, though. I'm not happy with Shooting Star.
We have had plenty of Shooting Star, but I guess the players just don't mind that map as much as some of the other bounty maps, I guess. I suppose they want to show off their skill with some of these ranged brawlers, so that's we'll probably be expecting more of the same right there. A brawler who has definitely been impressing me today, though, that we haven't talked about too much, is going to be one of my least favorite brawlers. It kind of hurts me to admit this, but Ziggy. It appears that the Ziggy buffs are honestly impacting him a lot more than I would have expected him to. He seems like that shot delay reduction is definitely pretty impactful. We've seen Ziggy get picked a lot more than I would have thought, especially on some situations where I didn't think he would have been one of the best picks.
Yeah, like for example, I don't expect Ziggy to be run on Shooting Star, except maybe as a last pick, but only in certain situations where the threat against Ziggy is not as much, right? If you have like one opponent who can go into Ziggy, that's okay. But like if you have multiple who can like take down Ziggy or pressure Ziggy to push him back, then it's not that good. So like if you're facing Ziggy, your best bet is to have slightly tankier opponents, but depending on the map, you have to make sure you don't face the Ziggy, right?
Yeah,
I'm not saying that Ziggy is that broken, but like Ziggy on Shooting Star versus Ziggy on like Hideout, it makes sense to run Ziggy on Hideout, but Shooting Star not as much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and he's a tough thrower to take without the last pick on your team too, because he's not that difficult to counter, even though he obviously has a lot of matchups that he's very solid into. There's a lot of brawlers that are popular, Kaze, Mortis, just to name 2 of them. Gray, like we saw in the last set, where they can just have a pretty free matchup into Ziggy if they get set up. So I think that Ziggy is high risk, high reward. Another brawler that I thought was really fun to watch was that Chester, who we saw only get picked up one time, but he was so dominant in that set. So I want to see more Chester. I want to see if he is going to be a top 3, maybe even a top 1 tank counter in the future meta.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like whenever he gets that hypercharge, it's like this Azar bomb coming down the whole nuclear playload, destroying the entire enemy team. That was crazy. Like you had Spike for 1 second, and the next second he's disappeared. Like beautiful stuff from the Chester over there. But like again, in that map specifically, I didn't expect Chester to be as good as it was. So I felt like it was an individual effort thing, but it also is because Chester is a lot stronger right now. So I guess the instinct of the player isn't as refined because they have to still get used to the meta. So, a lot of the mistakes that we see today can also be attributed to the fact that a lot of the interactions have changed, and this is only the second day into the meta. So, not many people are as mature in terms of their understanding of what they need to do.
Yeah, no, it's definitely really tough to try to play in a competitive tournament right after an update like this. Obviously, with like monthly finals, they kind of schedule those out a little bit more strategically, but with third-party tournaments, they do kind of just have to happen when they have to happen. So being midway through the update is definitely going to be tough for these players to have their strategies picked out. But we've got our first map picked out, guys. Shooting Star and our global bands Mina, Poco, Mina, and Globert, with Gene, Spike, Angelo, Pierce, Leon, and BB all being banned out. Nani's going to be the first pick, Panda.
I like that 91st pick because you outrange a lot of opponents, right? And it's not necessarily the best brawler, but I feel like it doesn't really showcase your head. I did want to talk about Nani's Super. I think that fundamentally in the modern version of the game, Nani's Super is not good because immediately when you use it, you lose control of that lane completely. And it's so obvious when Nani gets Super. It's like, hey, where did the Nani go? Oh, well, I'm going to be using my Super now. Like, it's so obvious, right? So I feel like that needs to be addressed. But Bo and Kaze coming on the other side, we know how good Bo can be. And Kaze is a brawler that can jump into your face and like destroy you. So you got to be careful about how you play the Kaze. And I mean, against the Kaze. And when you put down the fan, you massively have a lot of area control.
Yeah, and the other reason Kaze is a great pick is just because she gets the blue star faster than, I believe, any other brawler. There might be a couple brawlers that can race her to that blue star, but in the matchup that we're seeing here, it's going to be the Kaze picking up that initial blue star lead, so I like that for Enosis. The Bo is a little bit interesting to me. I feel like he does struggle when he can't charge up his super, aka by getting outranged, so if I'm Ice Frio Hilo, I'm going to continue to try to outrange him. They're going to go with the Mortis, though. So, I mean, I like it for being able to dive in if they need to get that lead back near the end of the game. It pairs up well with the Jaeyong as well, but I do just worry that they didn't have to feed the Bo, and now they're going to end up probably giving him a hypercharge.
Oh, yeah. The Mortis is so scary. I mean, there are nerfs to Mortis now, like the gadget doesn't actually go through the walls. You don't get the super charge like you used to in the past, so it's not as threatening as it used to be, but it's still such a good brawler, especially because in the dying stages of the game you might be able to get your hypercharge, and then those plays start compounding with the heals from Jaeyong and the speed as well. You have that much more. But the Crow with the hypercharge, the anti-heal, I like this composition for Minosis.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Crow pick. I feel like it was the perfect answer to the Jaeyong and the Mortis synergy that Ice Frio Hilo are bringing out here. The anti-heal will be big. If Crow's able to charge up a hyper throughout the game, that can definitely be a massive swing in the end of the game. So I like the Crow. I like a lot of these picks, man. I feel like it is really going to come down to who charges up supers and hypers the fastest.
Yep, we're going to go into our first game between Ice Frio Hilo and Enosis Esports. Let's see what the boys have to bring to this table here as we go into game number one.
I'm excited to see this race to the blue star. We've got the Jaeyong and the Mortis going for it, and that is going to be Brad Bari actually beating the Kaze to the star. Crazy combination of the J speed and the Mortis dashes to be able to secure that, but so far so good for Ice Frio Hilo. They get a kill as well, and now they're just going to regroup back here in the spawn with the heals that Saba has to offer.
Indeed, like now Seven obviously has a little bit more range than Brad Bari, and Brad Bari's biggest job is to get those cheap shots, right? Get those cheap shots, get your super, get your hypercharge, and that's what you should be doing. But with this super from Seven, it's going to create so much area control, but Seven has been slowed down a little bit there and not moving as fast as they want.
Still a lot of pressure that Enosis has right now. Six does have his jump ready to go. They're all getting supercharged from that massive bow totem too. So definitely a lot of things going all right for Enosis, whether or not they got the lead.
Nice.
That is going to force out the crow jump though. Not the best of timings from Six. Brad was able to force that out while also not being able to get hit that much. So really well played on the Mortis right there. Once again, both teams not really just kind of holding their position, trying to do what they can. The Mortis bats are there though. Not going to be able to get a kill, but a lot of positioning for the side of Ice Frio Hilo. They're trying to break out a spawn.
Yeah, Six in a bad spot. Oh, he gets finally found out. Sobel very low, but Brad Bari just making sure that he tanks for his teammate there. Peter puts down another totem, and that totem has been a big nightmare actually for Ice Frio Hilo, because despite the fact that they're up 5 stars, the positioning already at this point in the game is not good. It's not promising.
Absolutely. I do see that Crow has a hyper. No jump to go along with it yet, but still that Crow hyper is pretty busted in and of itself, but that's not going to protect him from Diego with some nice taps. Seven's going to try to clear out some room, but a little bit more, I don't really know what he was going for with that. Overall, everything is going well for Ice Frio Hilo. They've got Gnosis has a lot of stars to try to take back.
That was definitely an ill-advised play. Now Brad, oh, the kill is going to be there on Soba. Bradbury still running away. They are down 5 stars, so the kill onto both Bradbury and Diego is required at this point. Seven has a super, decides not to jump for it and dodge the Diego super himself. Fan's going to come down, but it's not going to be enough, and that is unfortunate. I feel like Enosis Esports made a lot more mistakes in the last dying seconds of the game than Ice Frio Hilo. As a result, they conceded that game.
That was a little bit closer than I thought it even should have been for Enosis, but overall, I mean, you can't start a game with like 4 deaths and no kills and expect to be able to just bring it back in the end. It can happen, but you can't really plan around that. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to be a little bit more strategic. I did see Diego doing a great job just kind of picking off kills where he could there as the opponents tried to push into him. So I like the strategy from Ice Frio Hilo. It seems like they've got a pretty solid idea, and it seems like Bradbury is also a demon on this Mortis.
Oh yeah, 100%. He knows when to go in, get his shots off, and discharge the super as needed. Oh wow, Ice Diego getting the kill in 6. That's massive. Now Bradbury on the back line and just ensuring that he doesn't feed the other team too much. I feel like Peter Yan hasn't got the value that he's been looking for at all in this set of interactions here.
Yeah, and Seven's going to be trying to do what he can with the Kaze ninja form, but it's really hard to secure kills from range of Kaze, so he's just going to be trying to charge up a super, ideally throw down one of those fans, but Diego steps on a mine and somehow is going to... Oh, he does die to the crow poison, actually. Although the lead is still with Ice Frio Hilo, definitely a pretty lucky break for Enosis to get a little bit of the lead back.
Yeah, because this is a very close game. We are in the same position that we were last time, except the fact that the star differential is now 2, so there isn't that much of disparity. I feel like it's definitely possible for Enosis to come back in this one.
100%. Brad also has to be very careful because he is the one member that can't die, but as a Mortis, you want to be able to have a little bit more flexibility to play aggro, so he's just going to be kind of dashing around, staying healthy if he can. Saba and Diego are going to have to clear out a lot of the room for him to be able to operate. Naughty Head is going to connect, obviously not going to get a kill, but good enough for a little bit of pressure. So far, though, it seems like Enosis is on the back foot regardless of them not having a lead right now.
Yeah, and now dash is coming in from 7. I feel like this should not be a dash coming in from 7 in the super. It should be a fan, and the fan is going to allow Enosis to be a lot more aggressive when it comes to being there in this last few seconds. 14 seconds on the clock. It's now or never.
Yep, Ice Diego's popping that hypercharge, but he's going to miss. He might end up connecting with the wall, but he ends up getting stunned instead. Seven's going to be there for the cleanup. The blue star is still sitting on Ice Frio Hilo. Enosis need a kill in this last second, and they are not going to get it. That is going to be Ice Frio Hilo holding on by a thread to their set number 1 victory. That's going to be the exact type of start that they needed to get a leg up on Enosis.
I gotta say, I have to give a call out there. In the first game, that Kaze should have used the fan in those dying seconds to pressure instead of dashing in trying to get a kill. I feel like if you use the fan, you immediately ensure that they have less ammo to fight back against your counter attack, and you have your teammates alive at the same point, right? But here we saw him dashing in when the teammates were dead. Like it's like, why? You should wait for your teammates to go in together. And I feel like that would have given them an easier line of sight for the goal. And they didn't get it. When I say goal, I mean like the win.
We know what you mean, Panda. No, I think I agree with that. It was definitely a little bit of a tough task to try to like get multiple kills on Akaze. She does typically do her best when she's able to single out one person, or like you said, throw down the fan and allow her teammates to be able to push up a lot higher. So I feel like that could have been a smoother operation from Enosis. Maybe they're getting a little bit cocky after sweeping Los Flaetes again, but they're gonna have to lock in a little bit harder. We gotta make sure that we drag this out to set 5.
Yeah, so Ice Frio Hilo won set number 1. So Enosis, it's not looking good for them considering the fact that, you know, the advantage that they have is slowly being chipped away by their opponents, right? They won 3-2 against Ice Frio Hilo, but the concession of those 2 sets was massive. Now they've already lost another set, so they aren't gonna have like the best time. They need to win this right now. It's like looking really good for Ice Frio Hilo in my opinion right now.
Yeah, and this is going to be a huge set here. I believe you said we got Hot Potato coming up next too. And here it is, guys. We've got our bands, Colonel Ruffs, Ems, Charlie, BB, Bull, and Crow. So triple Buffy's banned out by Enosis. And a little bit surprisingly, we're going to see Pierce being the first pick. I feel like there's been a lot of other maps where I would have liked to Pierce pick a lot more, but instead he's going to be pick number 1 on Hot Potato. He's obviously an amazing brawler, but this map does not seem to be built ideally for him, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like if you have grass on the map, it immediately ensures that Pierce is self-nerfed. So you have to run an Amber or something, or some huge wall breaks. And the most reliable wall break, in my opinion, on this map is banned out, which is going to be rough. So you have Rico on the other side. I mean, you could run Colt as well, so that is an option, and it's open, and it's definitely viable.
Yep, I don't really see Enosis going with the Colt and the Rico.
No,
I do think
yeah.
that them taking the Rico means they probably want to keep this map up. Chuck is also another brawler who has not been picked or banned here, so I guess they're going to go with the Otis instead, trying to kind of pre-counter out the Chuck that Ice Frio Hilo might bring in here. It's very interesting to see Chuck make it this far in draft, but at this point in competitive, people know kind of how to counter him, so I'm not, like, I guess, as surprised as I sound here.
Yep. This Otis pick is pretty good in terms of ensuring that the Chuck doesn't get as much value. Shade's going to be coming out for Ice Frio Halo, and I like this Shade pick. It's obviously going to be good because you have to be careful if you're moving up because the Shade can hit you behind the walls, right? Especially with that gadget as well. So the spike coming out for the side of Ice Frio Halo, that is going to give you a little bit more sustain and a little bit more defensive capabilities, especially in a map like this. I don't feel like Spike is going to go for damage outright, but more for the defensive side. But now, I mean, they have the Chuck for Enosis Esports. I don't think that the Spike was a good pick considering the Chuck was open.
Yeah, Spike's got decent defense into the Chuck, but I feel like they probably could have went with a Cordelius, kind of predicting that Chuck out. That's probably what I would have recommended. I feel like this entire draft was kind of just playing chicken for who's going to end up taking the Chuck, trying to pre-counter him out, bait the other team into taking it. I think this draft was Chuck chicken is how I'm going to analyze it here.
Chuck
but
chicken?
overall, I feel like I do slightly favor the comp of Enosis. That being said, a good Shade player can easily turn the tides for Ice Frio Hilo, so that's going to be the player I've got my eyes on.
Yeah, but I feel like the execution requirement for my Sphere Halo is quite high for a competition such as this because you're using Shade, and Shade is an aggressive brawler, but it's aggressive in a counter attack. It's not aggressive in an all-out attack from the get-go. So we're gonna go into game number 1 of the second set between IFH and Enosis, where IFH took set number 1.
Yep, Ice Diego is going to be trying to hold it down in the middle right here, but Pierce is just not able to get quite as much value on these grassier maps, on these more closed-off maps. That's why I was a little bit surprised to see him pick first, but Brad Barry's already got his first super, and that is going to be a great sign for Ice Frio Hilo. If they're able to keep him cycling and getting his hypercharges, that's going to be the source of most of their damage, so they got to keep that pressure up as Saba throws the super onto the safe for a little bit of chip to take the lead.
Super coming. Oh no, 6 got taken out. That's unfortunate. Big super coming in from Brad Barry, takes out Peter Yan, goes in on the safe, and I feel like the safe is going to be popped. Oh, he does pop the safe. That's crazy.
That was a really good pop for them. I do see that 6 has the double Chuck setup going here, so he's taking a lot longer to set it up, but ideally for him, it's all going to be worth it in the end once he can start stacking up those double hits. He's really calculating the angles on this one, though. I guess you gotta respect it. I feel like the setup's taking too long to get going, though. This game is going to get a little bit out of hand. Oh, he messed it up. They might be cooked.
Yeah, I think they're definitely cooked. I feel like, you know, it's not easy to come back when you're in a situation like this, and they're also conceding quite early on, but that is expected since they are running Chuck. But the Chuck, man, finally we get a post in the right position.
Yeah, that took a little bit too long. It's kind of looking like my Chuck gameplay out here in ranked right now, but the safe it continues to tick down. Obviously, they're going to be able to defend here, but that's going to be 50%. And, I mean, Chuck is running out of time to make an impact on this game. It seems like they might just have to chalk this one up as a loss and get back there in game number 2. I mean, he's got the setup now, but I still think it was only a one-hitter. Not the cleanest Chuck gameplay, guys. I think we can all admit that.
Yeah, he misplaced a lot of the posts. It's not just the one. It was like at least 3 or 4 of them, so he has to wait for the gadgets to really come in. But even that, it should have been a double hit, but then he misplaced the post position again.
It's definitely a tough break for Enosis Esports. I'm wondering if Bro might be losing Chuck privileges after this game, but he's going to be going back for the save. It just doesn't really matter at this point. Too little too late at this point in the game, guys. With only 1 crack remaining now on the save for Ice Frio Hilo, they're going to be able to bag up game number 1, and after losing 3-2 to Enosis last time, this is the exact type of start that Ice Frio Hilo wanted.
Oh yeah, this is definitely great. And the thing is, Enosis is a team that can figure out what the opponent's doing and try to course correct based off of that. So I wouldn't say it's smooth sailing for IFH right now either. So they still got to be conscientious. They shouldn't let this win get into their heads.
Yeah, I think that a lot of this game is really going to come down to the Chuck getting a real setup in a reasonable amount of time. It wasn't like that big of a deficit at the end, all things considered.
Yeah, actually.
Like, if Chuck didn't fold the setup throughout the entire game, then we might have seen Enosis taking the lead there. So that's going to be the player I'm watching right here. The first post is going to go down in the middle. I think he's probably going to go for a little bit more conservative with the setup here.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing the posts come down in very standard positions here. Peter getting pressured on the right-hand side, has to move back. Brad Barry making sure that he has a sneaky line to the left-hand side because that's what he's going to do. He's going to use his HP to pressure people out into awkward positions, which will allow for his teammates to move up. And the kill on a 6 is massive. Why would you go in without all of your HP? That's crazy.
I mean, he's just trying to get that post onto the safe, but Diego and Saba know exactly what the game plan is here, and they do not want to let that happen. He does finally get the normal Chuck setup going, so hopefully this is going to be the last Chuck post that we see get reorganized here. I mean, they've got a pretty solid situation going for them so far. The Enosis Esports safe has yet to get touched, even though they've been on the back foot.
Yeah, finally, it seems like Chuck is set up here. So, that's why you run the spike, because you have the ground ability with your popping pin cushion now.
Yep, I mean, Spike isn't the greatest Chuck defense, but he still can get the job done when he's got that gadget ready to go. Peter is going to clean up, though, and now him and Six are going to be able to get a lot of damage. This is more of what I'm sure Enosis was expecting when they finished up this draft here. They've got the Chuck setup going now. They've got a nice lead. Peter's been able to tickle the safe down there, but Bradbury's going to be able to clean up, but surely one more Chuck super, and we're going to see that 50% safe crack.
Big super in the mid. Now Chuck's going in, and again, he gets grounded in position. But, you know, that being said, just look at the difference. They're still leading. It doesn't matter. They're fine with just replaying this whole thing over and over again.
Exactly. Chuck is not worried about the KD here, guys. He's just going to continue to keep on dashing into the safe, forcing Saba's hand, forcing Saba's gadgets out. Peter might be able to get that 25% safe crack. Indeed, he's going to, and he's going to bait out a super from Saba as well, so that's even more spike utility out of the picture. Surely a couple more Chuck dashes, and this should be game over for Enosis, but Ice Frio Hilo trying to do what they can.
Oh, no, the Chuck post.
Why did he do that?
Bro's throwing. Bro is throwing. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the Chuck strategy is here, but I think they're still going to get away with this, all things considered. I mean, they need 2 safe cracks here. It's certainly possible. It is certainly possible. The defense is going to have to hold strong for Enosis. Six is going to throw a post out. What just happened? What am I witnessing? How does Enosis Esports not win that game? I've seen some crazy things today, guys, but I gotta be honest, that was a throw from the Chuck. I don't really know what Six is cooking with that. I don't know why he picked up a post. If he just dashes to the safe, they win that game, but he didn't do it, and they're gonna tie that game, so we'll run it back again, Panda. That was insane.
I still remember 7 as the Ziggy in that shooting star set. So like, I think both 6 and 7 are, you know, doing exactly what they need to be doing, which is brain rot.
This is absolute brain rot, but it's okay. It's okay. Surely we see the team's got to lock in eventually here. This is going to be a lot of damage pouring down onto the safe of Enosis, though. That's already a safe crack, and Saba's going to be there with the popping pin cushion as well, and they might be able to even get this down to 50%. Peter has got to come back. He was wasting a little bit too much time getting that first crack.
He needs to hold on to the mid here, but like I think what he did was actually beneficial because it kept the team in the contention, right? Like look at the score. It's not that unmanageable, but there's a super from Peter, but it misses everybody. I'm very confused.
Yeah. I mean, this safe is realistically done for. I mean, 5% left. Obviously, the defense could be there from Enosis. It's not like the Ice Frio Hilo safe is particularly healthy, but Bradbury's got a hypercharge. Surely he's going to be able to bait the Otis Starfish. He does get hit by it, but he just needs 1 smack to be able to finish this game, and he is going to connect it. That's going to be 2 sets going to Ice Frio Hilo. Honestly, after the way that last game went for Enosis, I'm not surprised that they dropped this set here. I feel like they had it in their hands, and they kind of fumbled it and tumbled it.
Yeah, I think the pressure is getting to them a little bit there because there were it was only unforced errors, and it was only from the Chuck. Like it's because it's not even about the gameplay mistakes, right? It's not even about like the interaction mistakes. It's just the express placement of the Chuck post. And in the last game, what was that placement of that last one, bro? What was happening there? I'm so confused. I'm so sad for them.
I'm known to my audience as being a pretty bad Chuck player, and I gotta say that I think I could have played a better Chuck there, but it's okay. Hopefully that's just a brawler he's not too comfortable on. I believe in my boy 6, and of course I believe in his brother 7. I'm sure that the duo of the century is going to be able to lock in here, but time is running thin. Ice Frio Hilo has a chance to sweep, and like we said, Ice Frio Hilo needs to win this game to give themselves even a chance to secure that Group C ticket. So I mean, winning 3-0 would be absolutely massive. Every set matters, and Enosis cannot afford to get swept here.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of a dream run right now for Ice Frio Hilo, but what I have seen from some of these teams is that when they have what they want, they kind of squander the position that they're in because they get a little too overzealous, they get a little too excited about everything, and as a result, they kind of let everything fall really bad.
Yeah, it's definitely. I feel like the mental gameplay has kind of been equally as important as the technical gameplay in what we've seen today. There's been a lot of mistakes. There's been a lot of people rushing plays, a lot of crazy moments going on. So I feel like keeping control over your emotions, making sure not to get too tilted after messing up one play and not messing up the next one is going to be really important. So even if you do have a little bit of a slip up, you got to stay dialed in. Your teammates are going to have your back, you know?
Oh, 100%. And we're going to go into set number 3. It's going to be Bell's Rock, and it's Knockout. And I feel like Knockout is one of those sets where momentum swaps do happen quite a lot because you go into those last dying seconds. And I feel like Knockout is one of the most tilting experiences, especially when you're almost about to win, but then you lose. So let's see what happens here as we go into Bell's Rock. First pick is going to be Pierce. The bans are Leon, Mortis, BB, Charlie, Gray, and Spike, with the first pick Pierce for Enosis.
Not surprised to see Pierce fly off the board right here. I think that this is a little bit more of a Pierce first pickable map. I know Ice Frio Halo got away with it last time, but still Pierce first on Hot Potato is a little crazy to me. Pierce first on Bell's Rock, perfect sense. I think this is a great map for Rico as well. I think Angelo is a pretty acceptable pick right there. He's got a little bit of faster movement speed than other snipers, so that does make it a little bit more viable into Pierce. You're able to juke out of some of those shots, and you have the jump gadget if necessary to get out of the Pierce swimming pool, which can be really helpful in the end game specifically.
Yeah, for sure. The anti-heal, the gadgets, and everything. And if the Brock coming out, not Brock, the Bo coming out for Ice Fire Halo, we've seen how good Bo can be. So it's not surprising to see this being brought out. I want to see what Enosis Esports can go for. But we always have to be remembering, we always have to be cognizant of the fact that the last pick from Ice Fire Halo could be a thrower. So you have to be careful about that.
It's very true. It could be a Ziggy, potentially. That's kind of the brawler that I'm keeping tabs on in the back of my head here. But Enosis is going to have the next 2 picks. They're going to have to compete at range with the Bo and with the Angelo. I do like the Brock pick. I feel like Brock into Bo is a pretty favorable matchup. You're not going to be feeding too many Bo mines, and you're going to be able to get a lot of good hits off there. With the Fat Rocket gadget, too, you should be able to mold the map into kind of the position that you want it to be in. So I feel like Brock is safe. Gus is probably the safest pick, so I really like this draft for Enosis, but really not a lot of kill confirmed potential except for the Pierce pool.
Gus coming out here, so they're going Sprout. Why? I mean, I know Brock is there, but Sprout would have been amazing in this situation with Angelo and Bo on lanes. That would be I'm very confused. I'm so confused here.
Could have been solid. I get not wanting to go thrower into Brock, but there's enough unbreakable walls. I think you could have justified it for sure, Panda. I think I'm with you here. But the Piper pick, it's acceptable. All 3 of the Enosis brawlers are going to be weak to a Piper tap and then curve gadget. So I feel like that's probably what the Piper is going to be out for. It is the easiest brawler to confirm a kill on from what I'm seeing here. So it's definitely going to be a long range affair. It's really going to come down to who's going to hit more shots, who's going to juke more shots out here.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It comes down to the classical long-range duel, which we used to have in Bell's Rock, or in Knockout as a whole. We're going to go into game number 1 of this 3rd set. Ice Frio Halo took 2-0 in the first 2 sets against Enosis, so it's right now up to Enosis to get back here, but the start has not been promising at all for them, Duncan.
Yeah, they're seemingly willing to give up a lot of position here. I know the Bo Totem is scary, but it's not that scary. I think you guys can try to play in the mid here a little bit. Saba and Seven are going to be facing off in the mid. That matchup should favor Seven. He does have the range advantage, and the Incendiary is going to be quite annoying for Saba to be able to move up the map. Diego is getting in a pretty high position up here, too, on the left on the Piper. But so far, it's just been a pretty ranged affair. That's going to force the Brock jump out, though. That was close to being our first blood of the game.
Indeed, super being used by 6. 7 finds a kill on his Sofa. So we got a 6-second collab. Ice Diego is going to be very low, as is Brad Barry. Now they know that this is no opportunity for them, so they go into the smoke and concede the first round to Enosis.
Yep, I mean, I didn't like the start from Enosis, but they brought it back once they were able to finally configure their lanes and get into the middle of the map right there. Overall, it's just a ranged affair. You just got to hit these shots right here. And we didn't really see Diego get able to curve anyone, so that's going to be what I'm watching out for. If he's able to hit any of them and then tap them with the homemade recipe gadget, it can confirm a kill, but he is going to be forced to jump out there thanks to Seven's Brock Super.
Of all the targets to go for, I would have gone for the Bo in that situation, considering that there's no way for Bo to get out of that situation. So not 100% sure about that. There are taps on the right-hand side. Diego is getting the better of the Pierce, which shouldn't be the case necessarily because, you know, Pierce does outrange, but do a pretty good job on the right-hand lane. On the left-hand lane, we do have a lot of contention. 6 almost getting taken out. He does get stunned, but nobody to capitalize on it. He might get taken out here because of poison. Nope, it's not going to be the case as 7 finds the kill. He has a hypercharge, pops it, and isn't going to be using it here. It's going to be a 1v3 for Enosis, and wow. What?
Okay, I was gonna say 6 was very lucky to get that kill when he did because he got the cookie popper through the opponent right there. So a little bit of crazy interaction to watch take place. It is not going to be 1v3able for Diego there. So Enosis is gonna finally get a breath of fresh air, be able to get a singular game victory against Ice Frio Hilo here in match number 5. They still need to do it one more time to start to drag this into set number 4, but so far so good. I'm liking what I'm seeing from them. I feel like both teams could have went with a little bit of better picks to try to capitalize and exploit some of the opponent's weaknesses in draft, but with the drafts that we've got, Enosis is playing it better.
Oh, 100%. We are going into game number 2 off this knockout set here. Ice Frio Hilo just need this one set win to win against Enosis, but Enosis is not going to let that line down. They've got a lot of good control at the beginning, which they didn't have the last time around. 6 going to be pressured a lot, and Soba is going to probably go down, but no, not going to be the case. 7 actually goes down, and Ice Diego is going to be able to find that mark. Now we have 2 members of Enosis against 3 members of Ice Frio, and it seems like the opportunity for Enosis to get some of those kills is kind of close.
I don't really know why 7 was up there, but he was, and he suffered for it. Peter is probably going to be the next to fall. Diego does get that kill, and now 6 is left in a 1v3. That should be pretty unwinnable. He's biding his time here, trying to get as much of a super as he can for the next round, but realistically, that was always going to happen. So Saba's going to have a super. I think Peter got a super as well, so I guess his efforts weren't in vain, but overall, that round was just bad because 7 was out of position, and he needs to stay a little bit further back this time around.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Taps coming in on the Gus over there. He's being pushed back a lot. Brad Barry has his big shot as well. Gets the shot off. Oh, hypercharge coming in from Diego. They should be able to find the pinch. They find the pinch on the Brock. The Brock is certainly going down in poison damage. And no, he doesn't, but it finally gets picked off. And this should go the way of Ice Frio Hilo. They are on match point here. Just need one more win to get the dub against Enosis.
That was a really quick turn of events right there. That was one of the faster knockout games that we've seen throughout our entire Road to Brawl Cup so far, and it could not have come at a worse time for Enosis. They thought they had a little bit of momentum. They're going to immediately drop that game, and like you said, Ice Frio Hilo is on match point. This would be absolutely huge for them winning 3-0 to give them a chance to advance out of Group C. So Ice Frio Hilo is dialed in. Enosis needs to focus up in this last game.
Yeah, this is a very, very difficult one for them. We already see the Peter Gann being pushed back all the way. I feel like Diego has been dipping him so much on lane, and all the pressure that you usually get from Pierce has kind of been obviated as a result. And we have the bow totem on the right hand side. That allows Diego to also jump out of harm's way much faster. So a lot of utility coming in from that bow totem.
Absolutely, yep. 7 is in a little bit of a compromised position right here should Diego choose to jump, which he does. Saba's not going to have the range to punish that quite as hard as a different brawler might have.
Oh,
and
no.
Saba's actually going to get caught lacking there. I think he thought he was out of that first rock shot range, but that is not the case. His teammates are left in a 2v3. Diego's going to be able to recharge his HP. He's going for a homemade recipe, but 7's just going to be able to regroup behind his teammates. This should be Enosis taking this first game.
Ooh, nice tap away from Brad Barry. He needs to take down 6. I feel like 6 is the opponent that they need to go for. 7 is also going to be low. There's a super coming in from Brad Barry. Peter Gann goes down. Super coming in from 7. Jump coming in from both the members of the blue team. No, there's a kill from 6. Can Brad Barry get the better of him? He does. He does. Oh my God, that is cinema. That is cinema.
I thought surely Gus was going to win that 1v2 at the end right there with the shield, but Brad Barry somehow able to get the exact amount of damage he needed to secure that kill. Really well played, charging his arrow up for the perfect amount of time. That was definitely a high pressure situation, and Ice Frio Hilo again coming out on top there. One knockout round away from sweeping Enosis after losing 2-3 to them earlier today. This has been cinematic, Panda. That is a great word to describe it.
Oh, 100%. Great positioning, great control coming in from Enosis. There's that super, which Peter Gann can use, but Diego's pressured the entire team. It's all because of the diff on the right lane with Ice Diego and Peter Gann. And there was a jump from Brad Barry to get out of that situation here. He's popped his hypercharge, not going to be able to get the value that they're looking for. Finds a little bit on his 6, but that's nearly not enough. But the jump from Brock to get out of that situation was so well timed. 6 going in for the super to get shielded up. But now we get a little bit more of control from Enosis.
Yeah, the map is pretty broken up, and I'm sure we'll see the smoke start coming in here any second now. Diego with some nice jukes on 7, though. 7's going to try to close that gap with a jump. He gets the kill with some auto aims, but 6 falls to the Angelo poison. Not very much HP for the side of Enosis, and that is going to be the bag secured by Ice Frio Hilo in straight sets against Enosis, who, like we said, they lost 2 to 3 to them earlier today, and now they're going to bounce back with a clean sweep right there. Really well played to Ice Frio Hilo.
Oh, yeah. I'm like really perplexed by how well they play this one. It is absolutely crazy. Now they're on the top of the leaderboard. I mean, like, it's not going to be easy by any means. Like, Los Flightists have to win, I believe, at least 2 sets to be able to make sure that, they have to make sure they win at least like 1 set. Sorry. Never mind. No. I'm completely screwing it up. My bad. I won't think about it.
No, you're good. I do want to think about it. I'm very intrigued about this now. Let's see. Is the match in? Not yet. Okay. I think that the situation we have here, does Enosis have a chance? Or is this, guys, Ice Frio Hilo, they are going to win Group C right here. So they'll be one of our 4 teams representing on Saturday in the double elimination bracket for that Words of Brawl Cup ticket. Congratulations to Ice Frio Hilo. Very rocky road. I definitely thought that Enosis had they were in the first lane. They were in the winner's lane, and they kind of squandered it a little bit. So well played by Ice Frio Hilo to keep the mental and to be able to beat a team that they just lost to. Really impressive stuff.
Yeah, beautiful stuff coming from them. Like, it was an unlikely situation. It was very difficult for them to come back to this position. And the thing is that they had to sweep a team that won against them 3-2, and that's not an easy ask. So the fact that they were able to do that against such a dominant team in this group is crazy. And unfortunately, we do not get 6-7 going all the way to, Berlin.
It was a pretty funny name, but it was a little bit confusing to cast too. So I guess we'll accept that. We'll accept their loss right there. But we'll be getting into our last game of the day soon. Should both teams choose to run it back, we will have Enosis versus Los Playetes. Both teams have sadly been eliminated from Brawl Cup contention here, but I would still like to see a 6th match to see which team's going to be able to come out on top. Los Playetes has definitely had a pretty rough day so far, and Enosis obviously can't be feeling the greatest after getting eliminated by Ice Frio Hilo. So both teams have had some negatives. We'll see who's be able to come out stronger.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, this is not the best situation for any of the other 2 teams, but the thing is, they have an opportunity to play off against each other, and maybe you might have Los Flightists finally getting their revenge, because I feel like they were far off from the other teams. Like, they lost in like a 0-9, but it was pretty close in a lot of the games, and there were lots of mistakes being done. And the thing is, if they've reached this far in the competition with that level of mistakes, there's that much more potential, right? If they clean up your gameplay, you get to be that much more of an impressive squad and a squad that people are looking out for. So I like this group. I feel like a lot of the matches were much closer, but this is going to be interesting because I want to see how these teams fare off against, say, Ensueno Completo in Group A or against Zarita Gang in Group B.
Yeah, so far from what I've seen, Zarita Gang definitely look like the strongest team in the region. I think that they are definitely the team that I'll definitely be having my eyes open for. They were pretty dominant in match day 2, but I think that our Group A and our Group C team can definitely make a solid run for it. Obviously, being in that top 4 already secures you at least $1,000, so definitely no chump change to go around for these guys. They'll be very happy about those earnings right there. But Zarita Gang looks pretty tough, and even if you've already got the bag secured, you definitely want to make sure that you're brushing up, because that's not going to be an easy team to defeat.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not. They know exactly what they're doing in terms of all of the drafts and everything. But we did see them prior to the new meta, and I feel like the opportunity is there for the other teams, because you have less than a week to understand the meta as much as you can before you go into the double elimination stage. So that is a little bit of a leveling playing field. So I mean, I don't think many teams can complain about the fact that, oh, we're up against another team. But yeah, but like, they also need to figure out the meta, and they have the same amount of time as you to figure out the meta. And ultimately, if they have figured out the meta faster than you, then there is that like component where they are better because they have the draft capabilities and whatnot. So I don't know. I like what I'm seeing in South America West. I feel like a lot of people discount some of the regions that, are overlooked. And I think that, that's probably a wrong thing to do, because we've had some good matches and we've had some good displays. And I think today was more exciting than any of the other days that we've seen.
Yeah, I think that Group C was easily our most competitive parity that we've seen across a group in our Road to Brawl Cup group play. But I've loved what I've seen from Group C, even though like we might have seen some cleaner plays coming out of Group B, specifically Group A as well. Clean plays are cool, but like messy plays are fun, and I've had a ton of fun watching these games. It's definitely been super back and forth, even if it's a little bit rage bait sometimes. Like, those are the plays that are fun to commentate over. So I've been enjoying it a lot, and I am really excited to see what we're gonna get in Group D tomorrow as well.
Yeah, we're just waiting for some of the teams to get ready, so we'll probably yap about something or the other in the meantime. But I like your headphones.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I like your Brawl Stars hat, Panda.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Do you like Mr. Unicorn?
I do.
Mr.
I understand
Unicorn.
it now. I see him. All right. Close to being the cat, but no cigar, I will say.
No cigar? Wait, what? Barry
Is
the
that
Unicorn has a cigar?
Yes, exactly. I mean, his voice sounds like he's been smoking a cigar.
Maybe we shouldn't say that. Okay. So we're just waiting for some of the players to show up, and that's what we're at right now. But in terms of what we've seen today, I'm quite happy. I'm quite satisfied with what I've seen, and this holds a lot of promise for this region as they go towards the Brawl Cup. And a lot of people might discount them, but just imagine if if a team in this region manages to win the Brawl Cup, which is a very long shot. Suddenly, this region has 2 spots. So that's big. That's massive. So
yeah.
You're gonna have teams like especially from the underserved regions. You're gonna have teams scrimming a lot in order to get better and try to make up the gap between them versus the other regions. And this Road to Brawl Cup SA West is so good because you have teams participating in areas where they don't have as much latency, right? And latency is a big issue when it comes to esports. So if you're closer to the server, you don't have as many issues. You can play like Stu without any lag. You can play Mortis without any lag. So many different brawlers and interactions change considerably if you have better ping, which is depending on how close you are to the servers, which is why we have this competition in the first place.
Yep, and I feel like Brawl Cup being a LAN tournament is definitely something that is very important as well, because not only do you have like both teams competing on even footing as far as servers and latency go, but you also have the additional mental aspect of being face to face with your opponents, being in front of the crowd, having all of the pressure of all of your fans, your friends and family there. So it's definitely a lot higher pressure in a LAN, but that brings out the best in some people. We've seen some teams across other regions that usually mess around a little bit with the online tournaments, and then once it is time for LANs, they turn into different animals. They lock in on a whole nother level. So it's really fun to see that energy in LAN. It's really fun to see that competitive parity. Nobody gets an unfair advantage anymore. And with Brawl Stars being an online sport, of course, there is a little bit of that unspoken advantage as far as ping and latency goes for different regions over another, as you've kind of explained.
Yeah, for sure. And like if you talk about like experience and where it matters, it does matter, because last year, if you look at the NA region, the single most overwhelming team in the first half of the year was Tribe Gaming, right? And the way that they dominated the region, we expected them to completely eviscerate the competition at Brawl Cup, but that wasn't the case. And that was mostly because it was the first LAN event for, I believe, Luffy, and even for Zeus, I believe. Yeah. So I'm not saying that they were nervous, but the change from like an online setting to a LAN setting is a lot to get used to. It's not only like the fact that you have to stand while playing, which is a requirement for a lot of the Brawl esports thing. It's also the fact that it's like a new stage. It's so many different people are around, the audience is around, you have the headphones that you have to talk to your teammates with. You can't communicate properly with your coach at that point in time, because the coach might give you like pointers while you're in monthly finals in a boot camp, but like at a LAN event, it's considerably different. So there are lots of different things that you have to consider and get used to. So experience matters is what I'm saying. And having Zarita Gang, for example, is a team which has been at international LAN events. They wouldn't be as phased as some of the newer teams. So that's basically the point I was trying to get to for this past 3 minutes. I'm sorry.
No, solid points indeed. Solid points indeed. I feel like just one other thing I can kind of yap about while we're talking about LANs here is the physical aspect of it too. Like you mentioned, you do have to stand up for a lot of it. I've heard players, I think Diego mentioned in World Finals last year that he had an issue with his hands being like too sweaty, and that made it difficult for him to move around. So you got to worry about your hands being cold. You got to worry about your hands being too hot. You got to worry about your device having any issues, It's definitely a lot to take into account, and playing in an unfamiliar environment can always be a little bit tough because a lot of these teams, they go to the same house every month for monthly finals. They're kind of used to that competitive environment, but being in front of the stage, of course, going to be a whole different animal, especially if you have to like travel across the country to get there. It's a whole experience in and of itself, so it can definitely just add a lot of pressure to a situation that's already pretty stressful.
Yeah, I'll give you an example, and this is like a very dumb example of what it means to be used to something. So I like to play from my bed a lot, right? And this was before I got into content. I used to have the iPad on my lap while I was on the bed, and I used to play it. Now, going for content, I had to start like, playing in front of my like on my table in front of like the camera and everything. And I've never played on a table, so like the angle is like different. So like instead of the iPad being down here, it's like suddenly up here. So I had to change how I play quite a bit. And initially it was such a big annoyance because I was like, nothing makes sense. Why? My muscles aren't moving the way they're supposed to move. And then I noticed actually in 2023 and 2022, during the monthly finals, Dre's used to stand up while playing in the monthly finals. And I think that is also like him trying to get used to the situation at LAN beforehand itself. And, some people might call it ego, but then like, the thing is, if you know that you're good enough to make it to the LAN event, why don't you try to practice for that LAN event from day one? And that's what a lot of teams do.
I love that. The mental strategy preparing for these tournaments is so exciting to look at. I love seeing how different players prepare for it too. Guys, just a quick update on our side. We are currently waiting for our final match to get started. It appears that Los Flayetes might be giving free win to Enosis Esports, in which case we will be done for the day. We're going to await on a final confirmation for that before we wrap it up here, guys. Just letting you know why we've been sitting here yapping for a while. But assuming that match does not get played, then Ice Frio Hilo, they have already secured that Group C championship. So congratulations to them again. They will be joining Un Sueño Incompleto and Zarita Gang in our final 4 teams. And then we will just have tomorrow's matches to determine who the final team to make it into the grand finals is.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait to see what's going to happen tomorrow. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be seeing you in the grand finals, sir. I heard that you're busy. You're a busy bed, and that's going to be sad.
I do apologize, guys. It's okay, though. I'm on a Supercell sanctioned trip to Finland, so I'm very excited about that.
That's the only reason you get a pass, buddy. That's the only reason.
I'll accept it. I'll accept it. Okay, guys, we have confirmation. That was our final game of the day, so congratulations to Ice Frio Hilo. 3 wins, only 1 loss, and a positive 12 set differential. They are going to be our Group C champions, so congratulations to them. They're going to be moving on. We will unfortunately have to say goodbye to Enosis and Los Flayetes, but that's pretty much going to do it, Panda. I'll pass it over for you to take us out.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day of Brawl Esports. We had 5 matches and 1, which is a free win, and I felt like I saw something special coming in from South America. There are hints of brilliance that we always see, and hopefully this ignites into a full-on like bonfire of like excellence coming in the future days. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope you guys have got what you're looking for. I wanted to thank the production team and the team behind the scenes for making this possible, because without them this wouldn't all be possible. Thank you for the teams for participating and for you showing up. So I really appreciate you all. I will see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place, for the Road to Brawl Cup SA West Day 4 of the group stage. Till such time, see ya and goodbye.